Good evening. Thank you so much for your patience. Sorry about the confusion. It was brought to my attention that the meeting was not posted on the website. We have a section for special notices on our website. I've never posted to it before. I'm not sure who handles that, but it didn't happen this time. And unfortunately, if we held the meeting at 6 and it wasn't posted there, it also wasn't on the calendar for 6, then we would have violated the Open Meetings Act. So we had to push back to 7. So we'll start with the annual meeting and then move into the regular meeting with the budget hearing. So there's 2 separate agendas. They could all be one. I just copied the format from the past. So I hope it makes sense. This is my first one, so I'll lean on Trudy and Joan to help navigate through, or those from the public that know how it's supposed to go. There's not much online for framework. I have it in front of me, but there's a lot of unknowns. So we will call the meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. Stand.
Be recognized.
Go ahead.
You're not going to do the pledge or anything like that?
I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda to require a separate vote on raises for each of the elected officials under the salary item. And I would also like to make a motion to the agenda to add a public comment.
Do I have a second?
Yes, ma'am.
Second.
So for the annual meeting, we don't do motions. I guess that would be at the regular meeting portion.
When we did the salary resolution, we should have made that motion in the meeting then. Can't hear you, John.
Right.
Can't hear you, can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
When we did the salary resolution for everybody together, that's when you should have brought this up.
It's still a motion.
They always bring it up.
It's been brought up before at annual meetings.
Well, it's been seconded, so you have to take a vote.
I'd like to do the pledge.
Yeah, we've got to open the meeting.
So yeah, the meeting wasn't even open yet. I thought you had an emergent situation. We have to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want it on public record.
I make a motion to amend the agenda to require separate votes on raises for each of the elected officials under the salary item. And I make a motion to amend the agenda to add item to allow the public to comment on any issue.
I second the motion.
Second.
Okay, so we can't take motions at the annual meeting to change the agenda.
Yes, we can.
There's nothing in the statute that requires or that prohibits you from taking a motion in the annual meeting
Yeah,
at all.
it's just not effective. We had a gentleman make a motion before during the meeting, and we were directed by the attorney that they can't make motions.
So I respectfully disagree with the attorney. Is the attorney here tonight? Okay, then let's run the meeting by Robert's rules, which is required. There's been a motion, there's been a second, there needs to be discussion, and then there needs to be a vote. I've looked at the statute, I'll cite you the statute if you want, but it does not prohibit motions, nor does it prohibit public comment at annual meetings.
Go back a minute and check with the attorney.
Okay, yeah.
Hi, Margaret Miller. Last year's annual meeting, it says right here, motion by Sean Vanderstel. And that was a pass. So he made a motion. I don't understand why we can't make motion on an annual meeting.
So that motion was to approve the minutes, which is item number 2 on the agenda. So we're looking for a motion to do that, but to amend the agenda and split the salaries, I don't know legally. So, I mean, I'm happy to go ahead and take a vote.
Shouldn't you know?
How would I know? It's not here.
Yeah, probably.
It says that we are supposed to deal with the salary resolution, public referendums, and petitions. That's what the meeting is for, so, yeah.
You're acting as the moderator tonight, you're not acting as a supervisor, nor are you acting as the chair. The board has no authority to do anything in terms of the annual meeting except vote as electors. So if there's been a motion and a second, you need to have a discussion, and then you need to have a vote.
You can do that and then check it.
Yeah.
Are we able to call the lawyer at all, just to know? Because if she said before it was void, then we have conflicting information.
I mean, to me, it doesn't matter if we take a vote and it passes and then the attorney says it doesn't stand, it doesn't stand. It's happened in the past. I mean, we can take a vote, so.
I have a copy of the law right here that Dave was speaking of.
Like I said, I'm happy to take a vote. I'm not an attorney, so.
Well, if we can read it and understand it, I would hope you could.
Well, under
How do
discussion,
you like to vote, Dave?
How do I vote personally?
Like raising hands or?
Well, normally it's done, under the statute, it's done by a voice vote. And if someone challenges the results of the voice vote, then you're required to do a one-by-one count,
Okay,
hand by hand. So in terms of the moderator, it's up to you initially. But again, anybody here that's an elector can challenge the results of the voice vote.
okay.
Other than elections?
Discussion, yes?
under discussion, I'd like for the record that Mr. Coble is an attorney, has been an attorney his whole life, so I think he's given you proper direction to follow, and you should follow it. And if you don't believe an attorney that's here in our audience and our resident, then maybe the attorney should have been here or put a call into your attorney, so we can make sure this is done properly.
Okay, well, thanks for your comment. I said I'm willing to take a vote, so is there any other discussion?
Yeah, if it's voided, do we have to have another annual meeting?
Good question. The reason I am concerned about this is because something was passed before, and it was voided by the attorney, so.
I would like to,
This wasn't a valid motion, it didn't void the whole meeting.
oh,
But would avoid the votes.
yeah, which is what
So
I
that,
was
but
voting on.
if by chance it was invalid, then I guess the question would be, would we need a separate vote? For as they were presented in the packet at the last
I
meeting?
don't know that we only have one resolution.
Are we able to take recess?
And that
and-
resolution is simply to accept that you will accept a raise. That's what that resolution is.
As determined by the electors.
Yes, and yes, that's what that resolution is.
And I presented in the past one for each office, and they were collectively put together. So,
Well, over the 12 years I served, we did it both ways, individually and together, both ways.
Were the resolutions typed beforehand?
Yes, they
we
were.
have to adopt them 30 days before this meeting.
So we don't have them because they weren't prepared 30 days in advance. So I'm not arguing with you, I'm stating the facts here. We don't have those resolutions because they weren't presented at the 30 days prior board meeting. I don't want to have to redo the meeting again. I don't know what you would like to do.
Well, I would think as a supervisor, you should have taken the time to find out that information, how the voting goes. If it
I
has
did
to be
research.
individually. If
I
it
called
has to be
MTA,
individually.
I read the book, I have a whole packet here of things that I
You just ask
researched.
questions on how you do it.
So if you would like to vote, we can go ahead and take a vote to, do you have the motion written down? Okay.
When was our board motion to accept increases?
May
30 days.
Yes, speak into your mics, we can't hear
We
you.
had to either May 5th or May 19th. So if it was May 19th, we had to wait 30 days.
It was the first meeting in May, I believe. I don't know. Yeah.
I would note that you don't have on the agenda which is normally on the board agenda, and I understand this is not a board meeting, but on the board agenda, you normally have an item that says approval of agenda. That's not on the annual meeting agenda for whatever reason, so that's part of the issue. There's been a motion and a second, there's been discussion, so unless there's further discussion,
Hey Laura, we're in the middle of our.
my suggestion is that you'll have call a vote.
The resident made a motion to split the resolutions and have separate salaries for each person, but our resolution that was approved 30 days prior was all together. So they have a motion and a second, and I said I could take a vote, but I just wondered, should we do it both ways, or
How
just,
rude.
I'm not really sure what we should do here.
Was it 30 days?
Huh?
So we have a resolution that the board would accept a maximum of 5% raise, all of us. And a resident made a motion to do it individually, but those resolutions weren't approved 30 days prior and they're not typed. I guess they had done that in the past, but we don't have that tonight. But we have a motion and a second. Okay.
Could you put him on speakerphone so we can hear what he's telling you instead of only you knowing what he's saying?
Can you be on speakerphone for the meeting? Okay. She's pulling her car over to a safe place. Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, Laura.
Hello.
All right, give me just a moment.
Okay, maintenance. On the 19th, we voted to move the meeting to 1 hour before our last meeting in June. Let's see the minutes where we.
It may have been an April item.
Oh, it was on May 5th. Motion by trustee Spencer, seconded by treasurer Rosema to adopt resolution that's the number sign, 5052025, a resolution to accept a 5% salary increase for the board of trustees. Passed on roll call
I
vote.
think
5-2 with treasurer Cooper and Slade voting no. May 5th, so where we usually have 30 days.
So it's more than 30 days.
guys, let's bear with me a minute. Hang on. Where are you getting the 30-day requirement for what you do at the annual meeting? I get the budget, but what about for the annual meeting?
The salary resolution, Laura.
Okay, thank you, Joan. All right, thank you. Okay. All right, so we've got 41.95. In a township that holds an annual meeting of the electors, which is you guys, the officers composing the township board are entitled to the salary as determined by resolution adopted by the township board at least 30 days prior to the annual meeting of the township electors. The resolution shall establish the effective date of the salary, which shall be during the next fiscal year. the electors at the subsequent annual meeting of the electors may alter the amount of salary fixed by the resolution. If the electors fail to act on the salary resolution, the officers are entitled to the salary set in the resolution. So do you have a proposal by the electors to alter that amount?
We have a motion made to have separate,
Separate
resolutions, which we do not have.
But would they all be the same, with the same salary increase?
No, they want to do them separately. They want to do it for each elector separate.
Well, it would be the 5% if they decided to do the 5%.
Yeah, is each one, but you're saying what, if you have a resolution for each person, what is the amount of the salary increase?
We don't have a resolution for each individual office. We have
What is the proposal?
We have they want to separate them, and they want a resolution for each office. It's too late for that.
No, we don't want a resolution. What we want is a vote.
Right.
We want to amend the agenda to vote individually on the
But she stated
resolution.
separate resolutions.
No, a vote, not a resolution. You've already got a resolution. We want a separate vote on the resolution for each elected official.
So they want to vote like 7 separate times.
Exactly.
But we have one resolution printed with all of us included. And the total is 5%.
Each is 5%.
Yeah, 5% for each person is how the resolution is written.
Oh, sorry, my Bluetooth there. All right, hang on. The electors at the subsequent annual meeting, the electors may alter the amount of salary fixed by the resolution. If the electors fail to act on the salary resolution, the officers are entitled to the salary set in the resolution. So I think you could depart from
We lost her.
Oh man, it was just getting good.
What are we trying to accomplish?
I don't know. I'm thinking they want to give some raises and some not.
Well, the resolution says 5% for whoever we vote to get the raise, right?
Right. All of them are the way.
Right, all of them is what it says, but 5% for whoever we vote to give the raise. So we're just voting on who to give the raise to. The resolution doesn't change.
You're also voting on the amount too.
Well,
It's
if
5%.
it's 5%, it's 5%.
You can change the amount.
You can change it to 5 or 0 per individual, right?
We're not asking to change it.
Are they able to split that up?
I'm trying to find that out.
Can you hear us? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear. I'm trying to research this on my phone. Like I said, you're out of 100 township clients, you're the only ones I have who do an annual meeting. I don't have it off the top of my head. Let me review this real quick.
Okay.
And it's for the office, it's not for individuals, right?
The elected office, elected official, right?
Can you even give?
A resolution to accept a 5% salary increase for the Board of Trustees.
But I don't think it's to.
We're all considered trustees. We have 4 trustees and like clerk, treasurer, and supervisor, but we're all considered trustees of the board.
But our salaries are based on our other positions too. So the supervisor is paid, not dependent on what the other trustees are paid. We have different rates for different positions. So the people who are just trustees, how do you?
Oh, I'm sorry for speaking over. I'm reading Michigan Township Association guidance on this. I've not done independent, I don't think there is any case law on this. But it is the opinion of MTA legal counsel that if a township holds an annual meeting, first the township is required to pass a salary resolution, right, at least 30 days prior to the date set for the annual meeting. This resolution may provide the salaries remain the same during the ensuing fiscal year, or the salaries for some or all officials be increased during the ensuing fiscal year. blah, 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 hang on. The electors at the annual meeting may alter the amount of the salary established by township board resolution. Because state law prohibits reducing an elected official's salary during the official's term of office, the electors may only alter this resolution by approving an alternate salary amount that is equal to or greater than the salary authorized the prior year. If the electors fail to act on the salary resolution, then the officers are entitled to the salaries established in the resolution. So the electors can only compel an increase in salary.
Or not.
Equal to, or not.
Or not.
An increase or no increase?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's all together?
We're not asking, all we're asking is to be able to vote on each one of the board members separately instead of as a group together.
Right.
And I served on the board for 12 years and we did it that way, different years. We have done it different ways for the annual meeting all the time.
So either
There was never an
increase
exact
or,
pattern.
right, increase or no increase, but not a reduction.
Right, that's not what we're asking for.
Right.
We just want to vote individually.
Laura, they want to vote on each office separately.
Yeah.
With the one resolution.
So it says in the MTA, guidance, which again is just guidance because I don't think there's any case law on this. Yeah, the electors at the annual meeting could determine that the salaries of certain board members will be frozen and of other officials will be increased. So yes, I believe that the electors can do that. What your resolution does is set it if there is no action taken by the electors. But if you have electors there, then they can determine whether there is a salary increase and the amount, and whether it's frozen, they may not decrease it from what the prior year was.
Right. So we can have 4 separate votes on the one resolution.
You're not voting on that resolution.
Okay. All right.
There's gonna be motions on each person. The resolution would have been what took effect if there was no action by the electors.
Okay.
Okay.
Can we also amend it to have public comments?
And, okay, can we add public comment to the annual meeting portion of the meeting?
Yes, you should have public comment.
Okay. All right, thank you, Laura. I think we're good now.
All right, thanks. Call me back if you need me.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Okay. So we will take a vote to,
Oh, do we just amend the agenda? Did we approve the agenda?
well, we have to vote on the motion first, I believe.
That's on the table.
Yeah, because we have the motion on the table, so.
The motion is to amend the agenda to add public comment and do the resolution separate. That's what we have to vote on.
Okay. Did you guys all hear that?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, your microphone's down here. You gotta fix your microphone.
That is.
Try it again.
The motion is to amend the agenda to vote on the salary separately for each office and to add public comment to the agenda.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Okay, motion carries. Would you like to have public comment now?
Put it on
Yep.
7.
Did we approve the agenda first?
We just didn't, didn't we?
We amended the agenda and then we approved it, right?
Okay, so,
Unless you're gonna do a nightmare.
you're putting public comment at number 7?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
No, we want public
Comments
comments
before
before
the
the
vote.
rest of the items.
Before the salary.
Okay. So could you make public comment
We
number,
can make it number 4. 4 sounds 3A.
Well, we'll have to move everything.
go ahead and tell me where you would like it.
I make a motion to add public comment as number 4 on the agenda. Renumber all subsequent items.
Thank you.
Second.
Second. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Public comment will be number 4. So there are meeting minutes from last annual meeting and budget hearing. What was the name of the second on that motion? Who
Janet
seconded?
Brock.
Janet.
Okay. So there are meeting minutes from last year's annual meeting that need to be approved. That is item number 2.
I make a motion to approve the annual meeting from June 17th, 2024 for approval. Support.
The minutes.
Who supported that? You? Beth Ann?
Deb did it, but
Seconded it.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, minutes are approved. Public referendums or petitions? None? Okay. Public comment?
I'll make one. Number one, I've been coming to these meetings for many, many years. When the salary was voted on, all 3, supervisor, clerk, and treasurer, got the same amount every single year except 2 years ago. 2 years ago, Trudy was given 5% raise and nobody else of the 3 got a raise. The year before that, it was requested to do it and we were told, no, we couldn't do it. Last year, all 3 of you got a 5% raise.
Any other public comment? On anything. It's open public comment.
Okay.
And for once, I don't have a time limit. I love it. So I'm going to be up here longer than 3 minutes. Do I believe I know the answer, but if I have certain items in the budget that I want to speak on behalf, I do that in the second portion there, correct, of this meeting? This right now is just public comments overall. Okay. Well, let's start with the hot topic of raises. Trying to find my notes. And I didn't notice that all the board members were voting. I hope you guys realize you're part of us. You're part of the electors tonight. So you vote just like we do. But I noticed that some of you didn't, so I just wanted to make sure you're aware of that. For the public's information, the trustees that are sitting on the board, which there's 4 of you, they're getting paid every 2 weeks, $186.29. That doesn't matter if they're here for 5 minutes, an hour, 2 hours.
Or not there at all.
Or not here at all. They get paid, whether they're here or not. And there was one board member in particular, I think it was the first 5 meetings, I think they missed 4 of the 5 meetings. And as a taxpayer, I don't appreciate paying wages for people that are not here performing and doing their job. And I do appreciate the board members that are here and go above and beyond and do other things rather than just show up for a meeting. Because right now, what I've observed from the trustees in particular, that 3 of the 4 of you do not go above and beyond but come to a meeting and vote yes, yes, yes. You have no idea most of the time what you're voting for, I don't believe, because I've seen you pick your packets up back here before the meeting starts, so you're not doing your homework at all. So that's pretty good wages, I would say. $372.58 for the month. That comes out to $4,843.54 annual. It's darn good wages if you're not here or if you're not doing anything but coming to a board meeting. I think the responsibility of a trustee, if you look at your statute of your responsibilities, it's more than just attending a board meeting. You're here to represent us, and that's what we expect you to do. You're not here to vote your opinion or what you feel should be voted upon. You're here to represent us. And if you don't like to represent us, I'll tell you what, you're not going to last very long. Let's go on to the clerk's wages. She brings home bi-weekly $1,770.74. That's an annual income of $46,039.24.
Plus benefits.
Plus benefits, full-time benefits for the supervisor, clerk, and treasurer. If anybody gives them a 5% raise, she would be making $48,341.20. The same salary is for the supervisor. And as Sandy spoke and said, the treasurer, I think it was 2 years ago, at an annual meeting was given a raise and no one else. So her bi-weekly pay is $1,859.28. She has an annual salary of $48,341.28. If given a 5% raise, her income is going to increase to $50,758.34. So I guess when it comes time to vote on raises, I don't know about you guys, but I don't think there's probably a whole lot of people that make that kind of salary in this township. I know the medium average for the income in this township is a lot lower than that. Last year, I was at the annual meeting and I voiced my opinion very strongly. I didn't believe that anyone should have received a raise because I tried to tell the board at that time that every one of you could be replaced. And I don't know if you remember that or the people that were here. And what happened? 5 of the 7 was replaced. So you all started off with a 5% raise and did nothing to earn it or nothing to show your performance. You got a 5% raise. Some of you might not have even been aware of that. And so now here we sit at the next annual meeting. And you've only been in office since November 20th. And you're expecting to get another 5% raise. It is ludicrous that you even requested it. I just can't, I'm speechless. I just cannot believe that it was, you didn't even wait to be in office for a year before you expected to get another 5% raise. That's a 10% raise in a matter of a few months apart. Well, a little over a year and a half. Not even quite a year and a half. Does anybody know what the cost of living was this past year?
2 point.
2.5. 2.5. I'm a senior citizen. I'm proud to say it. I got a 2.5% raise. And you expect me to give you another 5% when you received 5% last year? I'm on a fixed income. I don't have the ability to go and do whatever. You guys do as trustees. You have the ability to have another full-time job as a trustee. If you don't, that's your choice. But you have the ability to have a full-time job on top of serving on the board. Now, thank God, it was changed a few years ago. You used to get full-time benefits too. And we finally got that changed because you can receive full-time benefits from your full-time job. Why did you need, I never could understand why the trustees needed full-time benefits when they already have full-time benefits with their job. And I understand, I don't believe you work, Rhonda, and I know Peggy's retired. So I'm not speaking on all of you, but it is the ability there. You have that option if you choose to. Now, the full-time executive members, I agree. I believe you need benefits because you don't have the ability to go work another job. Unless, like our current supervisor, that thinks she can work another full-time job and not work here at all.
So why are we there?
I mean, we probably could count on our hand how many hours she puts in. The last board meeting, I'm very disappointed, just to fill everyone in because we got a full house and I'm at every board meeting, most of you aren't. But the last board meeting, she stated that last week, which would have been the next week after the board meeting, I'm going to be at the township full-time. And the audience laughed because, well, that's your job. And guess what? She disappointed us. She wasn't here full-time. She's no longer teaching. She had the ability to be here full-time, but she chose not to. She was at Michigan Adventure one day. A couple of days when she did come into the office, she was here for just a couple hours in the morning, and when lunch came, nobody saw her after lunch. And I stopped into this office 3 times that week. And I can honestly tell you I witnessed it myself. So I think that's terrible that anybody would think that they could work another full-time job and still have this full-time job and feel okay and that it's all right to represent us that way.
Yeah.
Because she's not attending meetings that she should be at. And we're wondering why our sewer bills keep going up and everybody's so angry in the community.
Amanda, I think you need to put your cell phone down. You're the mediator of this meeting. You should be paying attention to what the
I'm
residents
looking up the
are
phone
saying.
call because she's telling blatant lies. None of that's true what she just said.
She didn't say.
I called her back from my desk.
Into the office, is what she said.
If you were
You stopped
listening.
in or you called. Which one?
She said
I did
stop
both.
in.
Because
I did
I
both.
called you back and you said, "Hi Amanda, thanks for calling me back so quickly." And we talked and I was sitting in my desk. So that's a lie.
What am I lying about?
That I was here. I was here. I called you from my office. I was
No,
here all week.
I didn't say that.
You
said that you were here a couple of mornings, you were here a
And
couple of hours
afternoons.
in the
And
morning,
evenings.
and that you had left for lunch and you did not come back and return back from lunch.
That was a day. And I
Okay.
came back at 4:30 because I had a meeting at 4:30. And I was here until 9 p.m. almost 9 p.m. So where would you go work for free from 8 a.m. until 9 p.m. and not have a break? I don't have required hours. Any one of you are welcome to look up the statute online. I do not have them. I don't
You
teach
don't even do
anymore.
your
I come
statutory
here
duties.
and I work. I do my statutory
No, you
duties.
don't.
I do come here and work.
You
I've been here
lie
all
at board
week.
meetings.
And I can tell you who I've seen and who I haven't seen. I've seen the people that work here. Sometimes the people up here have been in and sometimes not. No one comes in here at 8 a.m. and stays until 5 p.m. every single day. No one. When they leave for lunch, I don't leave for lunch. I don't have to punch a clock, and you know that because a lot of you have been on the board before, and so you know. I was here this week, and I did work mornings and afternoons. The day I went to Michigan's Adventure, I did take 4 hours off. And if you don't like that, well, I'm sorry, then I guess
You need to go. You need to go. Because you're not doing your job you were elected to do. You're supposed to be in this office so we as taxpayers can come in this building and talk to you.
Show me
you
that.
are not,
Show me that
your
statutory
position is
duty.
not a position of convenience for you. It is supposed to be convenient
And
for the
if you're not
residents
here,
of
how do you
Eggleston
know your job
Township.
is to supervise everybody here. If you're
And
not
you're
here,
not.
who's supervising them? How do you know
Joan,
what's being
Joan's
done and
doing
what
it.
isn't?
Joan's taking up her slack.
you will not find anyone that is going to sit here from 8 a.m. until 8
We
p.m.
had one.
5
His
days
name
a
was
week.
John.
I did.
Joan does all the time.
I did as an elected official.
From 8
I
a.m.
was
to
from
8 p.m.
8 a.m. till 5 o'clock. And you ask any of your staff in there, I'm not a liar.
And when there is a meeting, you stayed an extra 5 hours and didn't take any time off during the week. Because you were on the board and you were on the board and you were on the board and gave the secretaries that work in there all these benefits. I didn't negotiate the benefits. Do you taxpayers know how much you pay the secretaries that work here? I'm stuck with contracts of $60,000.
Yeah.
Medical benefits. So I'm the boss, right? I'm supposed to supervise them. Yet I have to work all day and all evening, be away from my kids. I only go home to sleep.
I work a full-time
And
job
I
away from my kids all day long.
I make $20,000 less than the people that I supervise because it was negotiated by people out in that audience. $46,000 is not a lot of money, and it's a hard job. I always have this phone.
How
I
would
take
you know
calls,
you don't do
emails,
it?
texts. I'm available to the ones that need after hours work. If that's not you, you're retired, call me. Set an appointment. I will be here to meet you. You didn't come in all week long. I was here.
She knew it was 40 hours a week because I
It's
talked
not
to
40 hours a
residents
week.
that
I've got it on
she
my
walked
desk if you'd like to
and
see
met
it.
at the doors and went to their doors and they said when she was running for office, she knew that this position was a 40-hour week job. That's what Joan works, that's what Trudy works, that's what's required of the supervisor. And so
Yep,
why
the township tried to do that in 1998, and they got a letter from the attorney that said you cannot do that. It's on my desk. I can provide you a copy. It was Parmenter O'Toole was the attorney. It is not a 40-hour-a-week job.
That attorney opinion stated that the electors at the annual meeting could not determine that 40-hour week.
Sorry, Deb, go ahead.
I was here twice when Deb came in, once she came to get the budget, you weren't here. Friday afternoon, you weren't here. I was here with one other person. It happens quite often. There were only 2 of us in the office.
You weren't
Friday,
here today.
All day Friday.
I was here and you weren't here
I
today.
took my sister to a doctor appointment.
And I had a dentist appointment. People have appointments.
Maybe we need to punch a clock.
Yeah.
And if it's not a full-time position, maybe you shouldn't be paid like it is.
Longer hours on something, like to be accountable? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, they have a card that they have to go in and out of. So it should stamp what time they come in.
But do you have to fill out a timesheet?
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
because I
but they-
FOIA'd it, but the clerk said it was unavailable.
No,
nobody knows
there is
what
no
that is.
record.
If there's a political position, they don't have to do.
So nobody keeps track of those things you punch in and get your.
A time clock? No, they don't do that.
So why are you doing it if nobody even checks them?
It's a salary position.
It's
It's
a
not
fob.
hour, it's not hourly.
It's a fob that allows us to enter. We don't
Well,
have, we
exactly.
have a key, but it's a fob that lets us in and out. And the security system can see.
So that tells you when
who
you're.
came and
you're-
went and when.
But nobody checks that. Nobody really checks that. There's no way to check it.
Of
course there is.
I could have the security company go back through and.
Not if the door's propped open.
That's true.
Not if I come in this door. When you FOIA my hours and the attorney said they don't exist because the cleaning person is here at night and she props the door. I don't punch in a code. I don't use a key fob when the door is open. It's not possible.
Exactly, I know. Salary
If the
is.
cleaning lady is leaving the office door propped open, that's a major issue. My office is in there.
Why would it be an
All the assets of the
issue?
township are in there, because the doors stay locked, so people that,
She's cleaning the building by herself.
yeah, but she should leave the office door locked and closed.
It is when she's inside, but if she's in the hallway, there's been a few times where I've walked in and you don't punch out. There's no key out of the office. So if I came in, how do you know when I leave? Even if I
I'm
did
not
key
saying
in,
that,
how
I'm
do you know when I leave? You
That
have
office
no way
door
of
is
knowing when I
unlocked
leave.
and unattended, that's not a good thing.
It wasn't unlocked and unattended.
Okay, so we've been at this an hour. We've got a lady standing at the microphone that wants to finish.
I'd like to finish, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Deb.
Thank you, Trudy, because I don't appreciate being called a liar,
I don't either.
because she's my witness, all the girls in the office are my witness. You made it sound like I wasn't here this week, and I was. I came one day and collected the budget, so I had it ahead of time. I came in Friday, as she stated. I was here for about an hour and 40 minutes getting answers from Chris and Joan and Trudy, and I appreciate the answers that I was given. So don't call me a liar.
Don't call me a liar, because Thursday afternoon I met with someone in this audience.
Grow
Done yet.
Okay, where was I?
Yeah.
2.5% is the cost of living. Guess that's where I was at.
Yes.
Oh, I know what I was going to say too. Yes, Amanda, you're correct. I did call you. I had a question. You did get back with me promptly. I appreciate that. Within a few minutes. I don't know where you called me from. I have no idea. It was during the workday, so it doesn't matter to me where you're at, as long as you're working. But I know for a fact when you're teaching and you're in a classroom, you're not working here. And you can say what you want to say. You call people, you return people's calls on your break or whatever. I'd be a little careful because, I don't know, maybe your other employer wouldn't be too happy to hear that you're working another job. You're supposedly working another job on their time. I don't think they would like that too much. So you might be careful because you might not have either job.
I called you on my lunch break in my car.
Oh,
Twice.
okay. Oh, okay.
They didn't mind. They even let me go to Starbucks.
During lunch?
What? You're being a baby.
I don't know if this was discussed at all since you guys have been on the board. I don't believe so. I'm not exactly sure how long it's been in place with the leaf site. 2 years?
Yeah.
I know for a fact the community is not happy with that leaf site being locked. And us as taxpayers are not allowed to use that leave site at our leisure unless we come in here at an inconvenience during your work time to pay $30 for the year and to get the key signed out, come back into the office and bring the key back. And I'm not sure if you guys are all aware of that, because I know this happened before your presence on the board. But start asking questions. Start doing a survey. Start asking people. When you go to the store, you go to the park, you go have your picnic. If you see other people, see what their opinion is. They'll tell you. Don't assume that everybody's happy with that just because you have 200 or a little over 200 people that's paid so far, which I'm surprised that many people have paid. But that's not very many people out of a township of over 10,000. When you're looking at the apples to apples, that's not a very high percentage of the community that's paying to be inconvenienced to take their leave somewhere. And not all of us have the luxury of going in the backwoods or behind our house, if we have woods or whatever. If you live in subdivisions and so forth, you don't have that opportunity. And you don't have the opportunity to burn leaves anymore, which, believe me, there's a lot of people out there doing it now. Even in my subdivision, which I'm not happy about. But what are they going to do? They don't like being inconvenienced and trying to get up here to get a key signed out, bring the key back, and pay the money. So I just wanted to make you aware of how people feel about that, including myself. Do I have a second time to come up if I forgot something?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because we're running the show, right? Okay, I'll let somebody else talk and I'll look at my notes.
Oh, good. Oh, go ahead. We'll just wait in line.
I'm with Deb in reference to the trustees' wages. You haven't been on the board for more than a year.
We can't hear you.
Sorry. I'm with Deb on the trustees not getting a raise because you have not been here even a full year yet. So she was correct on that. In reference to Amanda doing her job, one of the first things that happened is we were hiring a cleaning person and a person to take care of the parks and stuff. Both times, she is supposedly our personnel director. Both times she pawned it off onto somebody else because I don't have time to look at 80, 90 resumes. So again, somebody else had to do that job, and that's not the only thing.
I did those interviews.
Somebody else had to prep everything before you did anything in reference to it. And you admitted that right here at a meeting.
Only for the custodian.
Nope, because you made a
I was the
comment,
caretaker.
and I have tapes on it. You made a comment about the cleaning person. I have nothing to do with the cleaning person. So I don't want to look at these resumes. Somebody else needs to do that. Number one, that cleaning person cleans your office, empties your trash, and cleans the bathroom that you use, which you would use during a board meeting. Got up and left to use the bathroom inside the office. Don't deny that, because that also happened.
Yeah.
So, at the meeting there in May, when you made a comment that you were going to be here full-time, you told me, no, you're not going to be here full-time because I got this meeting to go to, this meeting to go to, and you rattled off about 4, 5, 6 meetings. Why haven't you been attending those meetings in this last 6 months?
There's
Because
one
you were working.
on Wednesday. The road commission meeting is on Wednesday.
You were working, teaching elsewhere in Grand Rapids, and
Yes.
therefore could not attend any of those meetings for these first 6 months. You didn't care then, but now all of a sudden you have to go to all
I
these
wasn't
meetings.
able, which I've explained to you.
No.
Which brings me to me, Harriet Granson. I've lived out in this township for a lot of years. Anyway, and I've always had, free speech. So, I worked for the township a few years back. And I've had several other jobs. When I worked, I got paid. When I didn't work, I didn't get paid. So, I think instead of a raise, you owe us about 7 months worth of wages that we can pay. Now, I'm retired, and I can't make any money. I have a crushed wrist. My fingers don't work well. And so I have to rely on my pension and federal subsidy from my husband. And you, well, maybe not you, and you in particular, have other employment. Now you said, well, I was here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or something here. That is the first time, right, since you took that position
No,
in November.
that's not correct.
How can you do that and work at the school in Grand Rapids?
On Thanksgiving break, I worked all those 3 days that we were not at school. When there were snow days, I came here and worked all day. When there was, that doesn't mean I didn't come work.
Well,
And when
how about
during
this?
Christmas break, I worked the 2 weeks from Christmas, and then we had the week after New Year off. Our school schedule was different, and I was here that whole week. So.
Wow. Wow.
I also took calls and emails. I mean, I know the people that are here are all friends that were invited to come. They all talk together and group up on Facebook. I have plenty of supporters that have called me. I have other people who had questions about my job. And the ones that are brave enough to actually come have a conversation with me and talk to me like a human, leave satisfied.
I believe I have been talking to you like a human.
You pointed your pencil at me and waved it at me. That I don't feel like you're treating me fairly. You're not giving me a chance. You are coming at me accusing.
Well, I don't think you've been treating us fairly.
You don't know anything about me. I've been very available, and I've had lots of people thank me for my availability around.
Where are they? Where are your supporters? Where are they?
Where are they?
Where are they?
Why haven't we heard?
It's not your turn to public comment. You need to be in order.
Okay, I'll quit pointing at you if you return your salary.
Well, I won't do that, so you can keep pointing, or we can just move along.
No, I think, you know, this isn't the only recourse that we have. You know, there's such a thing as recall also. So, Joan, you worked for this township for many years, and you haven't had a raise in a while, so.
I got a raise last year.
Did you? Okay. Yes. Yeah. You're the only one that, you know, out of all of them there that need any more money from us.
Thank you for your vote of confidence.
So I'm going to kind of go off topic here, and I'm going to discuss about some of the things that have been happening with this board and their representation for Eggleston Township. So the road commission, in the past 12 years, the township board has put money in a road fund so that we could improve roads. And I see that's blank. You put no money in for your budget to improve the roads this year, after 12 years of us doing it for the community, and all of a sudden this board decided not to repair roads. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. But, and so my other comment is, a few board meetings back, our 4 trustees, and well, the majority of the board voted so that the board members could not have a time on this agenda to make board comments. So as a resident, if you go to a board member and you ask them about something, unless it gets put on the agenda and the supervisor approves it, then it will never be brought to the board's attention. It's very important for these board members to have a time to make a comment. And they foolishly voted it away. without even understanding, because they don't understand what their job is up here and what their roles are, that the 4 trustees, your jobs are to monitor those 3 executive board members. And I bet you guys didn't even know that, did you?
You're the babysitters.
And that. And it's ridiculous that you guys would do that. The other issue I have is about the fire department. Back on March 18th, this board, without even asking any questions as to if the people that they gave promotions to had qualifications for those promotions. They promoted one gentleman to battalion chief. We've never had a battalion chief, or it was a very long time ago. He doesn't meet the requirements. He had to be, according to the state, he has to have been a captain for 2 years. He did not do that. He has not taken any state tests to do that. Yet we are paying him a huge salary for a job that he's not qualified to do and can't do. And I had FOIA'd what our job descriptions are at the fire department from the clerk. And this is what she sent me. Ms. Foster, Eggleston Township has no job descriptions for battalion chief, first lieutenant, second lieutenant that have been approved by the board of trustees in the IFFA 3901. Therefore, I cannot supply this part of your request. So, as a board, you gave promotions out that cost us a lot of money because they got raises, they had to buy all new uniforms and all that stuff, and they weren't even qualified. And you want us to give you a raise when you're spending tax? Not one. I was here. Not one of you people asked if they were qualified for those positions. Not one of you. Why? Why don't you people want to ask questions? That's what your job is. Unless you're meeting behind closed doors and being told how to vote, you're useless to us as residents. I mean, the supervisor didn't go to the road commission meeting. She lied right at a board meeting and said they were all canceled. And about a half a dozen of us residents called the road commission to see if the meetings were canceled. And they're like, no, we're the emergency service. They're never canceled. She lied to us as taxpayers. Her job is to make sure that things are done right here in Eggleston. And she can't do a job if she's not here doing her job. She is cheating the taxpayers out of it. And so are the rest. I cannot believe that the rest of you people just sit there and think it's okay for her to come and to be paid all that money. And you guys think it's okay. That you guys aren't putting up a guff and saying to her, you need to be here. You got elected. Your job is here. But you don't. Whoever tells you, that's what you go by.
I did want to say I misspoke when I said that they were all canceled. It was the Resource Recovery Center that was canceled, but the road commission was meeting. They said don't worry about coming if we're not on the agenda. I am going this week though. I would like to ask you guys, would you prefer I go to the meeting? It's 10 a.m. Wednesday, so I mean, let me know by public comment maybe. I would love to know. Do you want me to sit here and wait in case you want to come in? Or should I go to the meeting for the Resource Recovery Center and the Road Commission if they have them?
It's part of your job.
But you said I can't leave the office, so I'm just making sure if you want me to go to the meeting.
You can't leave the office to go on a vacation, take your son to Michigan Adventure and that. You have not been here enough.
Go ahead.
Fine. First of all, I want to tell you how disappointed I am as to what happened with the scheduling of the annual meeting tonight. I think it's inexcusable that it was not scheduled properly. I don't know whose fault it was, somebody's fault obviously, but it's an important meeting for the township, as you can see, particularly this year. There's a lot of people that were interested, and it was very confusing whether it was at 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock or just when it was. I reviewed the statutes and I can't see any place where it's required to be published on the website. The statute that talks about budget hearing notice says that it has to be published in a newspaper of general circulation, which I understand it was. I don't know if that publication said 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock because I couldn't access that. But that's the requirement for the budget hearing notice. The requirement for the annual meeting is it has to be noticed according to the statutes under the Open Meetings Act. The Open Meetings Act statute says that every public meeting has to be posted at the offices of the entity. And that's where it was today when I came over this afternoon, and that notice said 6 o'clock. So if you were looking at the paper and the paper says 7, and you're looking at the notice, which is on the front door, and it says 6, and you're thinking to yourself, when the hell is the meeting? Then the next thing I did was go back to the board meeting, because I remember that in May, the board discussed when the annual meeting was going to be. And sure enough, there was a vote 6-0 at the last meeting, I think in May, and it was decided that the annual meeting would be an hour prior to the last board meeting in June. So if whoever did the notice that said 7 o'clock had bothered to review the minutes that you all voted on, except I don't think Joan was here that night, the vote was 6-0, that person would have seen that 7 o'clock was incorrect. So I hope that in the future, who's ever responsible for the posting will take note of the minutes, the decision by the board, and what the statute requires.
What was posted on the door is what went in the Chronicle.
Okay, then there shouldn't have been any confusion that there was a 7 o'clock meeting and a 6. Then there were some postings on social media, which I'm not going to get into. That's my concern with the posting of the meeting. My additional concerns tonight have to do with what the board is doing, or more succinctly, I guess, what the board is not doing. There have been very few decisions by the board that I personally have been in favor of since the new board came on. I want to address 2 things that I think are sorely lacking, that has now been 7 months and you still have not addressed, at least to my knowledge, attending the meetings and looking at the minutes. The first is that you have not apparently decided on one set of policies and procedures. That is ridiculous. Okay, every decision that's made in the township, you've got a $2.5 million budget. You need to have policies and procedures. You all need to know what they are. You all need to have a copy of them. You all need to understand them. And the excuse that, well, sometimes we use them and sometimes we don't, and I have one copy and somebody else has another copy, and I can't find my copy, and there are no copies in my file in my office, that's nonsense. You've had 7 months to get organized. I think you had 1, maybe 2 organizational meetings, and there's been no adoption of policies and procedures. That not only leads to confusion among the board, and I'm sure the staff, but it also leads to confusion between the board and the residents. We don't know what policies and procedures you're following. We can't understand what's going on because no one is following one set. You took oaths. I would expect that you would follow the oaths. I don't think you have up until this point. My second concern is that there are, I think, serious ethical challenges that the board is facing and some individual committees and commissions are facing. And the board has also failed for the last 7 months. You failed to adopt an ethical code. That's nonsense. You all need to agree on an ethical code. You need to adopt something that you can look at and say, this is what's supposed to happen, this is what's not supposed to happen, and this is what's supposed to happen if things don't go the way they are in terms of ethics. Without a code, there's no parameters, there's no guide rails. One person has an opinion, another person has a different opinion, and the ethics are up in the air. There's no reporting requirements, there's no follow-up requirements. The community doesn't know what the ethics are, they don't know what policies you're following, they don't know what ethical code you're following. That is a serious mistake by the board. You've had 7 months to adopt an ethical code. There are all kinds of them on the internet. The MTA has one, I know for a fact. You need to do something to address the ethical concerns, and adopting an ethical code is a very important first step to do that. I think that's it for now. Thank you.
I'm gonna have to do it from here. I'm sorry, I can't get up. Okay, I'm gonna tell you how this started. My problem is I'm being told I'm delinquent on my taxes over sewer bills. I was told, I've been over on North Muskegon Boulevard almost 50 years. I've never seen a township truck down that road in 50 years. I got a letter stating that Mr. Jeff Ream went down that road and seen that I had a second electric box on my house. I have two power boxes, so it's a double unit. It's not a double unit, and it hasn't been in 30 years. The electric box, the second box, I mean, it didn't run. It was just there. So I get a letter stating that I'm gonna get charged $5,400 because I have a second electric box. It must be a double unit, so I need a double sewer line. It's a house with 2 bathrooms, okay? And that went in front of the board. Nobody knocked on my door, nobody asked me no questions. I just get a letter stating that Jeff Ream seen a second box. It went in front of the board, it was voted on, and you're gonna charge me $5,400. Make me hook up to a second sewer line, okay? So I get a hold of John Holter. I get 2 more letters stating that I have to hook up to that second sewer line, or no, I don't have to hook up to the second sewer line, but you're gonna charge me a double sewer bill. Right, here's the letters. It's based on 2 bathrooms, so my sewer bill is gonna go from $95 to $190 quarterly. I wouldn't pay it. I got 3 sewer bills for $190. I came in, I've got the bills I paid my $95. I paid my bills. All right, and now I'm delinquent on my taxes because of them 3 sewer bills that I refused to pay for a second line that I don't have. Now I'm delinquent $326 on my taxes. How did that work?
You took that second service off, right?
Yeah, I took that, I paid $1,300 to have that. At first, Holter told me just take the meter off. Don't mess with the electric company. Well, I'm not ignorant. I know I can't do that. I called the electric company. They told me that's an $11,000 fine if I'd have done that.
I thought that was supposed to go away.
All right, so did I, Joan, so did I.
Well, let's, recorders, I think.
Well, I got a letter, I'm delinquent on my taxes over this sewer stuff, and I complied with everything this township told me to do. I spent almost $2 grand trying to comply with this township, and now I'm delinquent. I'd like that taken care of.
You got a phone number?
And I went down when you tried telling me that I was behind on my taxes before. They said I owed $1,004 and something, so I go to the treasury and I set up a payment plan. And I pay them over $700. I've almost got it paid off. And I go in to make my last payment and they say, you don't owe us anything. In fact, we owe you. They sent me a refund check. I want somebody to tell me how y'all are figuring my taxes. You can't show me my property lines because on your map, North Muskegon Boulevard isn't there. You've got it down between my park view, down there between the bay and my hill. We all know Muskegon Boulevard is up here. You can't show me my property lines. I want to know how you figure my taxes. How do you know what I owe you if you don't know my property lines?
The North Muskegon Boulevard is down the hill. That
No,
was made.
Joan,
I
on
know
your map
where
it
it's
is.
located.
You go drive down it, and you drive down that hill and you're gonna be stuck one
I
time.
know where it's located, but it is platted down the hill. That for convenience, you can't drive halfway down the hill. The people
There
that
is
built
no
those
road
places.
down the hill.
There's no road at
I
all.
know that, but that's where it's platted. It is not platted where it's located.
And now the campground, you know, owns halfway up my hill, his land comes. I'm paying Parkview taxes. I had them changed from Lakefront 30 years ago. I'm paying Lakefront taxes for I don't know how many years, and then I find out I don't have access to that pond, that bay. I can't put nothing down there. Well, why am I paying lakefront taxes if I cannot put a dock somewhere?
The township
Well, then it
doesn't,
got changed to Park View taxes. That is not a park, it's a drain for Wolf Lake to keep the other basements from flooding. I'm paying Park View, I'm paying my taxes, and now
From
I'm delinquent over a double sewer line.
You pay a different amount because you had the view of the lake. I don't
You mean the
do
drain
the
for the
assessing.
lake, the drain that's all dry right now, that white bog that's down there right now? Because he filled in that drain?
Can I get your phone number so we can call about the sewer business, please?
right there after the
Here, go give her my phone.
Paula, you wanna write it down and I'll take that.
The township does not assess property, we just collect the taxes.
What you doing later? I'll call you.
Who would you get a hold of to, get that
I'm sorry,
corrected?
Trudy, I didn't hear you.
The township doesn't assess property or determine your taxes, the assessors do, we just are charged with
The
collecting
people that
it.
just moved in next door that just bought 351, tried to have it surveyed. That survey guy is out there, I mean,
Couldn't do it.
he's out there scratching his head, and he can't figure it out. Because you can't go by what your maps are telling you here, and you can't go by, I mean, Eddie owns, the campground owns halfway up the hill. Well, how far up the hill? Where's my land start and stop? I can't put up a fence because I have to go so many feet back from the road. On your map, Vista Terrace is the road that I have to go from. I live on Muskegon Boulevard and it's right there. So how are you supposed to do that?
Yeah, your deed should have a legal description where your property is, and the
I'd love
township doesn't assess, we just collect the tax. That's,
A legal description of my property lines would be greatly appreciated. I'd really like to know where they're at. Because I want to know how y'all are figuring my taxes. If you can't show me my lines.
We
how
don't
do you-
figure your taxes, the assessor does.
Okay, well, how are they figuring my taxes then?
She's here every Monday if
You
you
have to go to
would like
title
to
and
come in,
deeds.
and she can sit down with you and show you on the tax map exactly where your property lines are. And if you ever
They
hear
try
it
to have it
right,
surveyed, we can't get it surveyed because everything is so messed up wherever that, you know, I don't want to fight with my neighbors, you know. I don't want them coming over, they're trying to tell me now that their sewer line's hooked into mine and wondering if maybe my property lines are off. Hell, they're trying to take half my yard, no. I mean, so what are you supposed to do about this?
That would be assessing in the register of deeds, we just collect tax, that's the only state statute is for us to collect.
I was told in order to get the
Bill it and
sewer
collect
bills taken care of, I had to come in front of this board. You all voted on that box, you voted on every damn thing else over there with my house without any knowledge to me at all. No questions, nothing. It was voted on. Well, let's vote on this and take care of my sewer bills. It's only right,
give us a little
people, come
time
on.
to look into it and straighten it out if it needs to be straightened out.
I was told I had to come here and get it taken care of, I had to bring it in front of this
Yep.
board.
I don't know who told you to come to the annual meeting. It's
See,
a-
y'all got no idea, right? Now, if I take this downtown, they're gonna send me right back out here to you.
No, we have to, talk with the zoning administrator. If you've complied with removing the second, service,
Did that
then,
back in July.
then you don't have an apartment there.
No.
So then that bill should have went away, and that's
Right.
something that this board's gonna have to make a movement on.
But
But
this
I
isn't a
got-
board meeting where we vote.
Right.
This is
Yeah, we
a
can't.
meeting of the electors, not the meeting of us, township. board.
So I'm delinquent in my taxes
So
until,
we'll-
what, the next meeting?
We can, Joan's got the notes, I'm not gonna make you re-say this when we get to the other portion of the meeting, it's fine, like, we've got the notes on it now. first I've heard about it, so obviously I'm not John Holder.
Convenient.
There was no file that is on my desk that says, you know,
Oh,
address
hey, I got a
this.
file up in here somewhere.
Oh, I'm
I
sure,
know.
there's lots of
There's a
files
file.
somewhere, but I don't have it on my desk, so now that I'm aware of it, you don't have to say this again when we get to the other portion of the meeting. It's on our radar. Joan's got your number. We have a sewer committee, so they probably have to be involved. Definitely need to get Jeff Ream involved as he's been handling this.
I tried to meet with a man I tried to meet with him and John Holton when it all first started, and I was refused a meeting. I was refused. As an Eggleston resident, how can you refuse a meeting with me?
Well, I'm happy to meet with you if you want to come in. I'll meet with you and Jeff and whoever, it's fine. We can't, the board can't vote because this isn't our meeting, this is your meeting as electors. So we can't vote on anything right now, and we have to gather
What
some
do you guys
information.
think? Should they get rid of the sewer bill, don't you think? I mean, I don't know. Trying to charge me for a double line.
They can't do it.
We have to do it properly, Paula.
But yes, they need to get
I'm
rid
not
of
gonna
it.
drop the ball.
Well, yeah, but they can't
I'm
do
sorry,
it now.
Joan, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said, we have to do it properly. I'm not gonna drop the ball. I will let you know.
I am 100% for doing this properly. It should have been done properly from day
Agreed.
one, and I wouldn't be here.
Agreed.
From day one. All you had to do was knock on that door and ask me a question, and we wouldn't have this. Not one bit of it. You just drive down the road and randomly pick a house and say, okay, let's take this in front of the board. It's wrong.
Agreed.
Any other public comment?
Sure.
Well, Dan.
First of all, I'm kind of disappointed that there's nothing in there for our roads in the township to keep them up, because it took forever for my road to get fixed, and I was happy that it finally did get fixed. And there are probably other residents that the road needs some attending to, that we probably should have money in the budget to keep this program going. The other thing I want to talk to is about the fire department. And she made some comments about the fire department and the positions that were done.
She's not listening.
Sorry.
Yep, talking to you.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
On the fire department, the battalion chief position, okay, that was negotiated between the union and the township board, because the union gave up a position to acquire that position. And the man that they did put in that position has all the qualifications to be in that position.
Oh, I have his records, and he does not have all the qualifications.
Okay, which qualification does he not
He
have?
has not taken a state test.
He doesn't
has not-
have to.
According to the state, he
No.
has to. He has not been a captain. So
Doesn't have to be.
we don't have to follow the state rules. The township doesn't have to follow the state rules. The state has rules. They have guidelines.
He has,
I will admit he's the most qualified
Absolutely.
person.
He
I
is.
will admit that because I have all the
he has the
full-time
qualifications enough to be the fire chief.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
So he doesn't have to take a state exam. He already has his officers, his fire officers exams that he's already taken to be a fire officer 3, which includes the battalion chief position.
But he, according to the state of Michigan, he has not
Have you looked
taken
at what the requirements for a fire
Yes.
chief for the state of Michigan is?
Oh, well, yeah, we know that our fire chief doesn't have all the qualifications that he's supposed to
Oh,
have.
according to the state, he does.
And that-
That Cleveland left us. Yes. So, as far as exorbitant or a big money raise, he ain't got a big money raise. Our firefighters here are the lowest paid employees in the township. Our DPW guys make more per hour than what our full-time firefighters make.
Well, and I understand that,
Right.
and I disagree with that. I disagree, our firefighters should be paid.
Absolutely.
But they need to be paid for what they're qualified to do.
He is
Not
qualified.
given a title without
He-
the full qualifications
He
for it.
is fully qualified. He is fully qualified.
He does not have the time to be fire chief.
No, we're not talking
No,
about that, we're
no.
talking about.
We're talking about the bat chief.
So I'll have
We-
to meet with you with the
Yeah,
paperwork.
we had
so
a
you
bat
can
chief,
explain
we
it.
did have a bat chief before, and it was quite a while, it was quite a
was a
while ago.
long, long time
It was-
ago.
It
Yes.
was a while
Yes.
ago. But this is something that was negotiated between the township and the union.
Yes, I
Because
know.
the township gave up a position, or the union gave up a position to
Yeah.
get the bat chief position.
Right, I have that, I
And then,
have.
and then they filled it with the
all
most
the-
qualified person,
Deals, yeah.
okay?
Yeah, I have
All
all
right.
that stuff, yes.
Now, as far as fire department goes, being that they are the lowest paid employees in this township, and our DPW guys make more per hour than what our firefighters do. And I know they're in negotiations right now, and I know they're not going very well. I think what they're asking for is not unreasonable. At least catch them up to what the guys over there are making or be above. You guys sit up there all the time and say how much you appreciate the guys in the fire department. Well, let's show it a little bit. Okay?
Do you know how much it costs us per firefighter, including benefits, pension, and overtime, in addition to their regular?
Well, I'll tell you what, their overtime's been cut a whole lot since I've been on.
Yeah,
Okay?
but do you know?
No, not right offhand, because I don't have the budget of what it is.
It's like
But, okay,
$90,000.
okay.
with
What do you pay
benefits
those
and
guys?
pension.
They get benefits and
I don't know,
full-time
we're not
benefits and
negotiating their
stuff.
contract right now.
Okay? Same thing. You know, this is what these guys, this is how they pay the bills, how they feed their families, how, they,
Absolutely.
this is their career. This is what they're gonna retire out of. I think I don't really think what they're probably asking for is very unreasonable, being that the guys who ride the lawnmowers and stuff are making more money than what they do.
Do you know how much they make? With benefits?
I know what I retired out of, and I didn't make squat.
The DPW.
And I was a deputy chief for 33 years. I left out of here at $18.63 an hour as a 33-year deputy chief.
I totally agree, that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Now, as far as inflation goes, well, under the Biden administration, inflation was up over 7%. Us guys that are on fixed incomes, we only got 2.5%. So, anyway, you say you appreciate the fire guys, let's show it a little bit, and let's negotiate properly with them. And personally, myself, I don't know how long it's been since our paid on call guys, we got a little boost. So, anyway, the roads, the bat chief's position, I have no problem with. This guy who's in the position is more than qualified for it. And let's appreciate what those guys do next door in our, when they're negotiating. Those are the guys that we depend on when we dial 911. Not those guys back there, and they're making more money than what those guys are. Let's get realistic about who's supposed to earn what.
Thanks, Mayor.
Any other public comment?
I'll make it short. I remember where I was interrupted at. I was starting to talk about sewer. Again, the supervisor, you should be attending the sewer user groups meetings. You don't realize how important they are. When I was on the board, I was the assistant and I was at every meeting. It's the only time that you have a voice for Muskegon or for Eggleston Township to fight the fight with the whole county. And if you go and fight the fight, sometimes you might get a little break. But if you never attend, They don't care about us. They don't care about us at all. And the residents are not happy again, and it doesn't include myself, but I'm here on their behalf. I don't have a sewer bill, but I feel bad for the ones that do. Because you guys just take a figure out of the air. The last time you raised the sewer, oh, let's just add $10. No rhyme, no reason. You didn't do a
In the last
sewer
15
study.
years, that sewer bill has went from $60, it's up to $95.
You didn't have a sewer study done?
We do have someone on the sewer committee, Trudy, our treasurer, goes to those meetings, don't you?
I do.
And she shared with us, we did have rhyme or reason. I'm just confused because you didn't want me to call you a liar, and I said, I don't want to be called a liar. We did have rhyme and reason. Benj, I think, was the one that said $10, and it was just talk. You know, we were discussing as a board. 2.5% was a study that was done that Trudy brought to light. I'm so grateful to her that she did, because I would have no way to know that there was a study done that said raise your rates 2.5% every year to catch up. And it hadn't been done by the previous board, but we resumed that. I actually made the motion. I try not to make motions. I made that motion because I think it's important that we can support our sewer system, but not raise, I pay for a sewer bill, and not raise it $10 at once or 20%. I want it to be reasonable, so be a small increase. I hate raising rates. I don't like raising taxes. Sometimes it's necessary. So there was a rhyme or reason. I want to correct the record. We talked about it publicly. It should be on the video. But the reason was the study that Trudy brought to light. 2.5% was recommended.
Okay, let's go a step further. Now that the county is adding to the sewer from Coopersville, Fairlife, Swanson Pickle, and there's a third business. I can't remember the name of the third business. DeVries, you're correct. If they're adding that line to our wastewater, and they're going to have some major flow coming out of there, why would you even consider raising rates until you see what the end result is going to be of that? Because that alone should make a difference in the whole county on their usage and what's being paid and what's being added to that sewer system. Why would you keep discussing it every board meeting or every other meeting? We got to raise rates, we got to raise rates. That's what I hear constantly.
Not for me.
I hear it here in this boardroom.
The county raised their rate to us 4.2%. To us, it was more like in the teens. If you think about it, a raise, say $100 out of their budget is minimal. $100 out of our budget is much more as a percentage. So they raised theirs 4.2. They're also promising to raise every user across the county $5 more for a main line that they need to run. That was the last they told us.
The main line that they're putting in?
No.
Oh, the main line itself.
From like downtown out to the wastewater.
So they're raising our rates higher than any other municipality, and we have 5 pump stations that need to be redone. Are you guys gonna have sewage in your basements? And
You guys, don't you live here?
There's 12 pump stations.
No, he doesn't.
I'm not on sewer.
okay.
I work.
Thank you.
I got that
So three of them.
But
We'll find that out real soon.
Washington figured when you said you guys, you know.
The thing is, the sewer is not sustainable with the rates we have, and we've not been charging what we should have been, like raising it gradually every year. And it's not caught up. In addition to that, we have to charge enough to maintain the infrastructure, and it's rotted. So either we get a bond that will pay for it, and that puts us in debt, or we have to raise the rates.
There were also issues with
Don't have to smell it all the time. Why put it on off?
It's whoever's hooked up to the sewer. It's necessary for it to be self-sustaining.
I can't. I can't pay attention to what's going on.
So that's why the sewer needs to raise.
Okay.
want to correct you, Ben, and I challenge all of you, Trudy and Joan, please give them the sewer report. Because way back when, I pulled it out last year or the year before, way back when, yes, the rate, we are on the same schedule of raising the rates. What you're not on the same schedule for, and I fought for and have the backing, you have to continuously add new sewer people. All these new homes that are being built, we should have known about that and had the sewer line ran, because the people that are on the sewer cannot sustain all of this income. So get the report, read it, and then decide, get the sewer board ready, and your contractors, Jay, you know, Murky and all those guys, yes. And figure out, okay, where are they gonna build? Let's start working on the sewer. Because we can't keep it up. Everybody around the lake has sewer because of the lake. So read it like you're supposed to.
I've got a question with sewer too. Well, yeah, because I'm overlooking the lake. Anyway, so I'm hooked up to the sewer. Now, I don't know, because my sister-in-law has been gone about 16, 18 years. She had property in Muskegon, Whitehall, the Heights, rental property. And our sewer bill was the same as Muskegon's, and they had city water along with their sewer. And I couldn't understand why we would agree to pay the same amount for just use of the sewer. You know, it has made no sense to me, so I just wanted to throw that out there for everybody.
Something to look into. Write it down.
All right, we're ready for resolutions.
Oh boy.
What? The salary. Salary motions.
Looking for salary?
Yeah, but item 4, salaries. So.
All right. I propose that Joan Ramp be given a 5% raise. As Deb Ackerman already indicated, that will bring her up to the same wage that Trudy's got, because she got 5% raise 2 years ago. So I think that's only fair. She also works a heck of a lot more hours, which again, Deb indicated. She works basically every single day, unless of course she's got, unfortunately, I probably shouldn't mention it, but medical issues just recently. So she's been out of the office and not been able to come to the board meeting a couple times because of that. She also puts in a lot of hours with the election. This board gave all of the election workers a raise. And then because of our extra hours that we've had to put in for the last 2 elections, we also got a $100 bonus, additional pay. I should say it wasn't a bonus, it was additional pay to help cover all the hours we work. Excuse me. As a chairman of one of the precincts, I start prior to 6 a.m. The election goes until 8 p.m. and anybody standing in line still has to be able to vote. After that, we have quite a bit of paperwork that we have to do in each one of the precincts. And after we get all our paperwork done, we have to come here to the township for a voter review, which is much more paperwork. And then after all that paperwork is done, Joan needs to take all the paperwork down to the county clerk's office. So she has to work longer than anybody else. One election I can remember, I was just shy of working 24 hours straight. That's a long day. Joan also is required to put in 8 hours the Saturday before every election. She doesn't get paid for that either. She has meetings she has to go to for the election. She doesn't get that paid for that either. Again, she puts in buku hours here in the office, day in and day out, every single week. While, again, our supervisor has been working another job. She claims she's coming in late hours. Again, as the community residents, we don't pop in after 5 o'clock because the offices are closed. Number two, she probably would never come to the door even if she was here because she'd be by herself. So again, got to work during regular office hours so the residents can get a hold of you. Trudy also does not work a lot of hours. She comes and goes on a regular basis. Recently, don't shake your head. Oh, yes, it is true, because I've seen you come and go on a regular basis. Lately, you have been here more hours than in the past, and on a regular basis. Again, I claim that's probably for show. So I propose that Joan get a 5% raise, and everybody else does not get a raise this year. Wait until next year. Anybody second it?
The motion is only supposed to be for one office at a time. The board of these electors made that motion and approved it to begin this meeting.
Okay, I propose that Joan gets the 5% raise.
I second.
Thank you.
All right. Can we do an all in favor? Because it's spending money. We'll try it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye. Show of hands, please, so I can count.
All right, in favor of the raise for Joan, raise your hand.
Okay.
All right, put your hands down, please. All opposed, raise your hand.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
All right, so 21 to 10, so that motion passes.
Your turn. Okay.
For the record, I did miss some time in the office because my office was full of mold smell. It took 10 weeks for anybody to even discover what it was. So I went home when it was smelling and I couldn't use another phone because it wouldn't work, and I couldn't use another computer because it wasn't working.
And you moved all your stuff, your computer,
so for my
your desk,
health,
and
I
everything
went
into
home.
the assessor's room. And it wasn't just recently.
Please hold your comment.
Yes, I did. I finally moved. We had towels under the door and my door was shut during the day, so the smell didn't get out into the office. So I moved into the assessor office and I had about this much space for everything I used during the day. So I would hold my breath when I ran into my office to get something out of my files, off my desk. So I finally had the DPW move everything in with the assessor's office. So yes, I did work in there. And yes, there were days I went home when the entire office smelled like bleach, I left. When my office smelled like some sort of cleaner that was sprayed in there, I left. I didn't stay in there. And eventually, after 10 weeks, I told the DPW to tear off that windowsill and see where that smell was coming from. And there was black water stains down there, and I sniffed it, and that was the smell. The DPW took care of it, and I finally got back in my office.
And you weren't in the office prior to any of this happening on a regular basis.
Joan
Even
leaves
for
at
the
4
previous
o'clock
years.
every day.
I think she was.
Not for the previous 4 years.
Yes,
wasn't
she
here
was,
full-time.
definitely.
Joan leaves at 4 o'clock every day.
This is motion time.
Chris does most of her job.
I'd like to kind of reiterate on what Sandy said in regards to Joan's pay and Trudy's. I attended a lot of those meetings, and there was a time where Trudy got a raise when they were done individually, and the other board members did not. So, and then last year it was, you did the raise as a whole, is that correct? So that is why Trudy is bumped ahead. There was times, I think it went like 4 years the board didn't get a raise. So that makes sense. And when you came into office, you came in what the starting amount of the money was at the time. I make a motion to give Trudy the 5% raise because she has worked tirelessly trying to get this board to work together. You know, she's had information missing several times
from her packets, and all of a sudden things are thrown at her. She's very, very thorough. Everything she does to prevent lawsuits in this township. So I motion to give Trudy a 5%.
I second it. I second it.
Second. Please, I'm sorry.
Jane Cooper, I second it.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say aye.
Aye.
Show of hands.
For which one? For the aye.
If you are in favor of Trudy's raise your hand. All right, all opposed to Trudy's raise your hand.
Real.
Five.
So does it pass?
Was that Robert's rules it failed?
It has to pass with a majority.
All right, any other motions?
What was the vote, I'm sorry?
17 to 17.
So the motion failed.
Motion failed.
So I do that.
Is there another motion for trustees?
A motion for, oh, yeah.
He's getting turned.
Okay. I'll wait for you, Harriet.
Okay, Benji, Spencer, trustee. No, you've only been here 7 months. You do not need a raise.
You have to make a motion.
I make the motion. Benji, Spencer does not need a raise.
I second that.
Harriet, it's for the office fund.
Trustee.
Trustee.
Oh, for the office, trustee. Okay. Now do I have to say that all again?
You're voting to not give the trustees a raise?
No, what was the motion at the beginning of the meeting?
To do each one
To each one
individually.
individual.
Each office individually.
So
Each,
Benji
all 7
Spencer,
board
trustee, does not get a raise.
I'm doing that. I'm going for the job.
So you need seconds?
Yeah.
I don't think so either. I think
What
it's
was the
for
motion
office.
at the beginning?
Because you're not
What was
giving
the motion at the
It was
individual.
to separate them, but I don't know if you can separate the trustees individually or not.
Lois, I need to
Check your minutes.
check the motion that was made at the
The
beginning.
motion was for each individual
Yeah, it was.
elected official was the motion.
Was it official or was it each individual office?
No, elected official,
Okay,
Okay.
because we didn't want it by
Okay.
category.
so there is a motion to not give Ben Spencer,
I supported it.
okay. Show of hands to not give Ben Spencer a raise.
Okay. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27.
All right, show of hands to give Ben Spencer a raise. All right, so the motion carries. Is there another motion?
Oh, okay.
I make a motion to not give the supervisor a raise.
I second that.
Thank you.
All right,
That was you, Emily.
yes. All right. Show of hands to not give the supervisor a raise.
1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 25, 35, 37, 28, 29, 30.
All right, show of hands to give the supervisor a raise. Thank you, Ben.
All right, we need.
Is there another motion?
We need. Yeah, go ahead. Nobody else is making them. We'll make them. We know how.
I mean, I think if there's no motion, don't they just not get a raise? I don't know.
No, the attorney said if there was no response from the residents,
Oh.
they got a raise, so we have to vote on each one of
Okay,
them.
I make a motion not to give trustee Rhonda Cooper a raise.
I second that.
Show of hands to not give Rhonda a raise.
Hold on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30, 31, 32.
Show of hands to give Rhonda a raise.
He's consistent.
All right, last one. Oh, I forgot about Peggy, I'm sorry.
You and I are fighting for this job.
I make a motion that Peggy Foster, trustee, does not get a raise either. 7 months does not deserve a raise.
He's last.
All in favor of not giving Peggy Foster a raise, raise your hand. All right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32.
And those in favor of giving Peggy a raise, raise your hand. Come on. All right, no raise for Peggy.
And the last one is Corey. And I just stand a roll, right, Harriet?
Yep. I make a motion to not give Corey a raise.
I second.
How come you didn't say trustee?
Oh, I'm sorry, trustee Slade.
All right, show of hands to not give trustee Slade a raise.
He didn't want one. Right, he voted against me.
24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32.
All right, and show of hands to give trustee Slade a raise. 2-1. No raise for Corey. All right, well, business. There's none. New business. New business. None. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn the annual meeting. Support. Second.
Oh, I do.
Now you're done.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. The annual meeting is adjourned. We're going to take a 5-minute recess. All right, we're calling the meeting to order at 9 p.m.
Okay.
It is open public hearing 2025 to 2026 budget hearing. Is there any discussion?
I thought it was, because it was part of the.
You should have been at the meeting.
You know me, I can't come to the meeting without saying something. I'd like to focus on the fire department. The over overtime is absolutely ridiculous. And I hope Alex gets a handle on it, and I have all the confidence in the world that he will. I know it's gonna take him some time to take care of the mess that he acquired over there. But if you guys looked at that budget, they were budgeted $15,000 for overtime. And up to date, when this was ran, which I'm sure there was probably another paycheck or two that has to be on there, they were already at $45,000, $34. And you guys are gonna budget $50,000 for this next year.
I'm sorry, out of respect to you, could we not have the side conversations so we can all pay attention, please? Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys are gonna budget $50,000 for overtime. So what that tells me as a resident, you guys are okay with it. Because if you wasn't okay with it, I guess we'll see when you vote in the regular meeting, that would have been changed, or it will be changed.
Deb, you're well aware that we're bound by the CBA that was negotiated by prior boards. There's nothing we can do at this point. We're trying really hard to get that under control. You have to budget for what it's costing you. So Alex looked at what it cost last year, and we had to add, because we're not through the fiscal year, as you know. So that's why, because it was at 40 something, even way back in January when we were looking at budget stuff, and he was nervous about coverage and talking to me about it as the point person. We have to budget what it's costing us currently, and this is the snowball that we ended up with as a new board. So we are trying to find ways to get that back under control, but it is far out of control.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. And I know the bottom line budget figures, and Joan and I kind of have a disagreement in this area. A fire department has millages that they operate under. And I understand that a lot of fire departments cannot live within their means. But it shouldn't be an automatic, we're just going to let the general fund pay whatever you want above and beyond what your millage rate is. And I don't agree with that. I think it should be more diligence on their behalf to be a little more conscious, to try to make the cuts and try to meet their means. And I understand it's probably tough. In this year's budget, I know one of the things that's really putting it out of whack is this new fire truck, again, that we're purchasing. Whether we needed it or not, I don't know. I really wonder if we really did need it, seeing how everything else over there is such a mess. But that's just my biggest problem and biggest issue. And I hope that with the new administration on board, that we can see some improvements and that you as board members will oversee and be a little more involved on what's going on over there. Because obviously, nobody was watching the hen house over there for quite a while. So that's my only comment.
So I brought up at the last meeting that there's no money in the road improvement fund. Why?
It just didn't get transferred because we haven't decided which roads we're gonna, out of the 3-year plan, we have to prioritize and get the road commission to agree. It's on the front page of the budget.
So the township is going to continue repairing roads?
Absolutely, we'd be silly to stop.
Well, yeah, I know. That's what would be heartbreaking.
The heights, that's what would happen if we stopped.
Right. Well, because we started back doing it 12 years ago. And as Dan said, he greatly appreciates that his road got done and that, you know, and so, okay, because I would be very disappointed if you guys did not continue that. That is such an essential part of this township, is keeping our roads maintained.
We've got the 3-year plan laid to begin with.
Okay,
Our plan so far is to keep with that 3-year plan that was in the packet a few board meetings ago.
Mhm.
We don't have any plans to change it.
okay, thank you.
I would just like to comment on the fire department. I didn't know that we got a new fire truck, and that's my bad because I haven't been attending the meeting. So, but, I don't know, if our area is full of seniors and, people on respirators and things like that. But I can tell you, there are a number of days when the fire department is called out on an emergency because I hear the sirens all the time. And it's not police, it's the fire trucks going to to one of my neighbors down the road, or just across Wolf Lake over there. It's it's concerning because as we're all getting older, I can attest to that, they have to come out on those calls. And so I don't know how you can possibly cut overtime for these guys when they don't know how many times a week they're going to be called or how many times a day they're going to be called. So that's my comment.
Hey, me again. I have some specific. Howdy doody. This year in the senior resources budget, there's $14,000 budgeted for professional services. What professional services are attached to senior resources?
I believe that's the snow plowing.
That would be, well, if it's approved, but right now it's the transport, public transport.
Because last year there was $0 budgeted.
Really, Michelle?
Yeah.
Oh.
We added that at the beginning of this year when I requested the funds.
Okay, and the 30,000 that's in there now, that's reflected in the supplies? Because there's a supply line item that's 30 or 31,000.
Yeah,
Is
that's
the smoke alarms and the?
That was to finish up that program, so now all we will be doing is meeting the needs of the ones that are turning 60 or move in that happen to be 60.
Okay.
But the bulk of that program is completed.
So depending on what happens with the senior millage committee recommendation, that's where the professional services is going to be spent.
That and snow plowing.
And snow plowing.
Yeah.
Okay. And last year there was $11,500 budgeted for spraying the lake, and apparently you spent $1,000. And then this year the proposed budget is another $11,500. Did we get a break last year that we didn't pay $10,000 to spray the lake, or what? Why is there $1,000 actual expenditure for 24-25, and the budget was $11,500?
It might have got paid before the fiscal year ended.
Okay, so the 11.5 is still a viable number.
It was just in the previous budget.
All right, so what we owe yet is going to come out of next year's budget? What we owe for this year?
No, what we budgeted this year is $9,500 or $11,500.
Right.
And that will go through the season, which will go beyond July 1.
Okay.
I think they've done one treatment.
Yeah.
But they didn't treat huge amounts. They were treating for specific, because this group that's doing it now is doing a management program rather than just spray and go and hope that all the weeds die off. They're identifying what's there and they're treating the spots that are problematic as they come up. So
Oh, okay, I didn't realize that. So they're gonna do essentially spot treatments
yes,
through the summer?
yes. And they're gonna watch and they're gonna manage the lake rather than just weed control and go.
One shot annual spraying like Pincrest or Pinecrest or whatever it was?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Dave, I posted that on the Facebook group, the township Facebook group, the map.
Okay.
And it's milfoil, which is an invasive aquatic, and there it shows the spots, and there's two different, I think they're both milfoil types.
Isn't that also on the door out there?
Okay, thank you.
Map there.
With the sewer, the whole sewer budget, expenditures, revenue, it looks like there was a federal grant for this year, 24-25, for about $743,000, and the budget for next year is $0. What happened to the grant? Was it?
That was ARPA money.
Okay.
And that the board voted to assign it to the Hazelcamp lift station.
All right, so we've spent that, it's gone, not gonna get it back,
We
not
had-
gonna get additional
We had to spend it by this December.
by the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah, the December 26th.
And then, a line item under the sewer, replacement and improvements, there was $1 million budgeted for 24-25. You spent about $867,000, it looks like, and the budget for 25-26 is $100,000.
That was for the Hazelcamp lift station, and it's done.
Okay, so
That would just.
the 100,000 is a guess as to what's going to be.
If something breaks and we need to replace it, we've got to have some money here to do it.
Okay. And there's a fund balance committed future expenditure of $500,000. Can you explain to me what that is? Because that looks to me like it's a deficit number. It's in parentheses. I don't understand that.
Is that in the sewer or the total fund balance?
No, I think it's in the sewer. It says fund balance committed future expenditures, $500,000.
But because we're projecting doing an additional lift station.
That we don't have the money for.
No, we've got the money for it. It just, we won't move the money over until we commit the money to that project. We may do it this year, we may not.
So it's in the general sewer fund, or where's the $500,000 at? Because
It's in reserves.
okay, and what's the approximate sewer reserve? Do we know that?
I do not.
Trudy, do you know?
Do you want to know what the fund balance is?
Yeah, what the fund balance is?
Yeah, the sewer is around 2.3 million.
That's the fund balance. Okay. And to follow up on some other questions earlier, what discussions, if any, did the board have when you were in budget workshops this year in terms of addressing the sewer, in terms of keeping the system viable? Were there any discussions, and if so, what were they?
We need to
Any-
add customers.
Pardon me?
We need to add customers
Okay.
because the small amount of customers can't possibly support all that infrastructure that's in the ground.
So was there a discussion on how to do that? Requiring new subdivisions to connect to the sewer?
Well, we have to get everything covered to get to these areas that are building. They're building way out away from.
The main line.
We've still got pots of development that are not supplied, they're not supplied sewer yet. So we've got to get that and get those lines going towards those developments.
So what's the plan to do
We have to meet with the engineers and develop a plan.
that? And is there a plan on the shelf at this point? I heard earlier talk about a sewer plan. Is there a plan on the shelf that this board hasn't reviewed since you came into office? So something that needs to be done from scratch? When's it scheduled?
The recommendation for the increases, the 2.5% increases, is the last rate study that we had done. That's the document that Beth Ann's referring to.
Okay.
We used to have a sewer master plan committee.
Right.
And there's been several projects identified, but it just never propelled forward, and we've got to move. We're at the point where if we're going to support this infrastructure, we've got to add customers.
So,
And in the same token, protect our groundwater,
right.
or try to.
So there's going to be some kind of plan soon to advance that?
Has to be.
I mean, I know there has to be. I'm asking if there's going to be.
We've already discussed meeting with the engineers, and I think Trudy, we talked to Trudy about state revolving funds, if that was necessary. We've got to get all the pieces together, but we've got to move forward.
We're still waiting on an updated sewer map too, so we don't even know exactly where everyone is.
Well, we have a map.
We've
but
got
there's
maps.
some missing.
We've got
Well,
I need to get it.
Yeah, we've talked about, even on the last board, about a sewer type master plan, like that type of thing.
Right.
Like Joan has mentioned, if we could add some, would we need a lift station, or could it be gravity feed? You know, we've talked about having a master plan. The sewer committee discussed a new rate schedule, but the last time we did it in 2017, it was, I think, $17,000. So we haven't decided if we're gonna do that, or I would rather see us work on a master plan for the sewer.
Well, if Hazy Camp cost us $750,000 or $800,000, I mean, $17,000 seems to be a good investment to me. Because if the fund balance is what, 2.5, you said? You know, 2.5 divided by 800,000, it ain't gonna go very far.
No, one lift station.
Right, well, when we budgeted to have DLZ, our engineer, Parkway lift station. Parkway, Apple Parkway and Washington, and Rose are pretty much in line to be next.
We've identified the ones that are the worst.
Okay.
And what priority we have to take. We just have to deal with funding and.
But that engineering was like 75,000 estimate, and probably, the convention I was just discussing before the meeting, how much would that lift station cost? Probably the same, and Hazy Camp was more like $1 million.
Okay.
But
Or ship.
Well, and Apple Parkway could be worse because it's only 8-inch lines. And when we get the high water, they can't handle, and we were paying
$15,000
hauled out to the wastewater. So if they have to put bigger lines, it could be.
It's gonna be way more than $1 million.
It's the exit line going out of the pump that's troublesome.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? All right, so need a motion to close the public hearing portion of the budget hearing.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. On to our regular board meeting agenda. Oh, we'll close the public hearing at 9:20 p.m. All right. Is there any public comment at this point?
Can I ask a question of the fire?
Sure.
What happened to our boat? We used to have a boat for like what happened on Harbor?
Yeah.
Was it used or?
Service right now, been in and out of running conditions for the last 8 to 10 years. It's something that's in the near future to be discussed.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Looking for a motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
So moved.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, and then the consent agenda, there's workshop minutes, regular meeting minutes, planning commission minutes, and the trustee workshop minutes. Looking for approval of that.
We need to make a correction to the minutes.
Okay.
It's stated that the 911 service would be, that I brought, that it would be $45,000, and that's not true. What was $45,000 was an estimate for new computers in the office and a new server. We didn't have a quote actually from 911. I just brought information about the bills that we pay now, including Verizon, BC3.
What minutes are we talking about?
Sorry. The 5th.
June 2nd.
June 5th, I think it is.
Oh, yes, my bad.
June 5th. Treasurer Roosevelt presented information on a phone system and internet system from Muskegon County Central Dispatch, which will be about $45,000 investment. I did not have an estimate from them. I just gave information about the bills we pay now. The $45,000
was for computers.
Was for office computers and a new server.
Okay, so,
Give me a number.
it's just past that one.
Beyond planning commission?
Yep. I put in my date. So Trudy, how would you like that to read?
The $45,000 investment was for new desktop computers and a new server.
So instead of
That's an
phone
estimate.
system and internet system?
Correct.
Okay.
I
But the
did present-
45,000 investment's okay to leave?
Yes, but not for, I did present information on a phone system and internet system from Muskegon County Central Dispatch. I did not say that that would be a $45,000 investment.
No, but the computers and server will be $45,000. Okay,
Yes.
I can add the $45,000 would pay for computers and servers. Does that
Yeah, it
satisfy?
doesn't pay for the rest of the 911. I mean, we have to run a fiber optic that costs money. There's all kinds of things.
Well, this is just for budgetary issues anyway, so I could get it in the budget under computers, and so what do you want me to put in here that satisfies what you're looking for?
I would put a period after Central Dispatch and then say an estimate for new desktop computers and the server estimated at $45,000.
Isn't that from Central Dispatch though?
Well, if we do Central Dispatch, if we don't, we're going to have to buy new computers.
No, I just meant that was the quote you gave us, was from Central.
No, Central Dispatch did not give us a quote at all.
You told us it was gonna be $45,000, that's where I got the number from.
That was for desktop and new server.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, but that wasn't part of 911 Central Dispatch. They didn't give us any quote at all.
Oh, so
That was to replace what you currently have, so.
Yes,
correct me if I'm
yes,
wrong.
because Windows 10 is no longer going to be supported in October, and if we don't do Central Dispatch, or it comes much later, or the cost is different, we're going to have to do our own desktop, replacing what we currently have. They're 6 and 7 years old.
Okay,
And
and
a
a
server.
clarification here. So there was a handout that said what we currently pay, what the
Yep.
new price would be. Who was that from?
That's from Central Dispatch, but
Okay.
that's the monthly or annual payments.
And to replace all of our computers and servers, it was gonna be an investment of approximately $45,000. And to get those figures in the budget, it's in the budget workshop minutes.
That 45 doesn't include Central Dispatch things.
No, and I agree, I can
So it
I
says
can put
which
a
will be-
period behind Central Dispatch and then change this sentence to reflect that the computers, to replace our computers and servers. It will be an investment from them, if we go with them, of approximately $45,000.
I don't know what they are. They didn't give us a quote, they didn't give us some dollar amount because.
Where did we get that number? We got it from you, Trudy.
From Chris and I, that we looked at previous costs for replacing the current computers that we have.
Yeah.
Dave?
I think that number, the 45,000, was estimated based on if you use your current company
Yes.
to buy new computers and server. That was the 45,000. So if before you spent that money with them, it would be worth looking at what Central Dispatch could offer you as a full package.
Yes.
Okay. Can you just reword it so that Trudy did not bring an estimate of 45,000, but we, after conversation with the team, we guesstimate 45,000.
Okay.
I guess I understood that wrong in the budget meeting, because when you guys brought it up, you know, we took the estimate of your laptop and we decided that we were going to, you know, the price of what we paid for your laptop, and then we added like however many computers were in the office, plus a server, because we were talking about Central Dispatch. Maybe that's where we're confused. That's what we were all talking about, and that's where we thought we were all, that was the idea or whatever that you guys, that's what it sounded like to me.
But they're two separate things, yeah.
So,
Okay, so editing the Board of Trustees workshop minutes as we discussed, then anything else, or can we approve the consent agenda?
motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, there's a handout for the budget amendments for 2024, 2025.
These are those, things that you just can't, zero in for the dollar. And they usually go over. And then we have to approve them at the end of the year. So I would make a motion to approve the amendments as presented.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Cory?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes.
Yes. Amanda?
Yes.
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 All right, that motion carries. We have a resolution of appropriation number 06162025-1. That's our 25-26 budget.
I thought I saw the 16,000 for that GIS mapping in the cemetery.
Still in the budget?
Is that still in the budget?
No.
Okay. Let me just check.
I'm double checking. Make sure you got your new one, not the one that.
This is the one I received today.
Okay.
Okay, so that was on page 4 out of 11. Oh, we're looking at that. Okay.
I don't know, these are in the packet with,
Okay.
so this one.
Just a second.
You're looking at this.
Yeah.
I am now, yeah.
Okay.
I do not see the GIS here.
I'll just take a note.
Page 6 is cemetery.
It would have been under capital, I think.
Oh.
Thank you.
Found it?
Yeah, it's good.
I make a motion to approve resolution of appropriation 2025-26 budget number 06162025-1.
I second.
All right, and then we will roll call vote.
Brenda?
Yes.
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 That resolution will be adopted. Next up is the resolution of tax levy for the 2025-2026 budget number 016162025-2.
Is this just a continuation of last year?
No, this is the new, this is what we operate under. There's nothing, no
But
increase.
the
or
rates are
anything.
the same?
Yes.
Okay.
I make a motion to accept the resolution of the tax levy number 06162025-2.
Just to clarify, the millage rates there, where it says general fund 1.1049, that's not the same. Last year, our general operation from the township was 1.1185. It decreases every year because of
Oh,
the
the rollback.
from the Hadley rollback. Each year, the millages decrease. So these are correct millages, but you mentioned they're the same
Minus
as
the
last year,
rollback,
but they're
I'm sorry.
not. Just that one. Like our debt service fund is.
Is that just the general fund that has a rollback?
All of them. Except that the fire station debt fund, that stays constant. 164.
All right. So Corey moved to adopt the resolution of the tax levy. Is there a second?
Second.
And then I have a question. If we ever did want to raise it, would that just go on the ballot?
Yes.
Is that how it happens? I don't want to raise it.
All right, so Rhonda seconded. All right, roll call vote.
Trudy? Yes.
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 Yes. All right, no old business, new business. The Planning Commission has been talking about Parks and Recs plan, and Jeffrey had came to me the other day and asked about checking for ADA compliance. It needs to be a direction of the board, not from the Planning Commission, that he does that. So I am looking for a motion or discussion on if it's okay to have him check the parks for ADA compliance. We did talk in our budget hearings about how we were looking at coming to compliance with those things. We already have the handicap accessible sidewalk. I requested a handicap accessible porta-john for Pine Ridge to test the waters before we commit to a vault toilet. So I'd like to see a motion so that he could check those, see if we need signage, new handles, things like that.
I'm confused because he's the code enforcer. Why can't he check the code on our own things? Why does he need anyone's permission for that?
He needs direction of the board. He's a contractor with this board. And, you know, he's got limited hours. How many hours is this gonna take him? Is he gonna be spending 20 hours a week at each park where he's not gonna be available to our residents for permits and stuff?
He already does drive-bys.
That's
That could
why
be part of
his-
that time.
That's why it's up to this board to give him approval to do that, because he'll be taking from his other duty.
I motion to approve.
Support. This also will help us with grants, especially for the DNR.
We have a motion and a support, so we will roll call vote.
Peggy?
Yes.
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 Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, the motion carries. Next up, the deputy chief contract. Trudy found a few things. I checked to see if I could edit, or if they need to edit it. If you remember when we were in closed session, we discussed some of these things. We did, on page 2, we did choose 1 hour increments. It was on 4/14. She has it dated in here, you can see that. So they will remove the bracket just so it is official from them as they provided this, and select the 1 hour. But the one thing I don't believe we voted on or discussed unused sick time. It will or will not carry over into the following year. I've already spoken with Dave. You know, he doesn't have a burning preference. He hasn't used any sick time, doesn't plan to, but we need direction so that this contract doesn't have any typographical errors. So.
What would you suggest?
Well, it should roll over at the same rate that everybody else's does, which, I mean, there's certain amount of hours you can carry over, right?
6 hours, just bank up.
His contract is only for 1 year, and this sentence says, if this agreement is extended beyond 1 year, unused sick time will or will not carry over into the following year. So we could say will, and then choose to change it for the next contract. He may not want to renew the contract, so, I mean, it's heads or tails.
How many days is it? What is it?
ESTA is really confusing. I don't know. There's a really crazy calculation.
You get an hour for so many.
I think it's for every 30 hours worked.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna use them, so do whatever you want with it.
Well, I would agree that they should roll over. I would choose will. And, you know, down the road, when he decides to move on, and hopefully it's not for a long time, but then we'll have it in there for someone else to sing.
Can we have it roll over just for 1 year?
Yeah, because this contract was done in a year.
It rolls, if we renew this contract next year, then we'll roll them over.
And then it will perpetually be accumulating.
Okay, state that again. How many sick hours do you roll over?
Right now, the way they're accrued, like from the union, I think they earn 1 day per month.
Something
It's
like
like
that,
11 days a year,
Mhm.
and then we get the 11.
Yep.
And then it rolls over, stays banked, and then they can utilize that, so if they get an injury.
So the whole thing
someone's
rolls
sick,
over? Okay,
I would
that's all I
recommend-
wanted to know, that we weren't.
I would recommend just leaving it the same, so everything
Yeah.
is transparent across the board.
And like I said, Dave may not take sick days, and it doesn't matter to you if it rolls over, but if we do this contract with someone else at some point in the future, they might, so I'm willing to roll it over.
I make a motion to allow Dave to roll his sick time over.
Second.
So we're just changing the verbiage though, right? From
Yeah,
will.
we're scratching out the roll.
We're picking one. There was 2 choices. We're picking a choice. Yep. All right, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Hi, Chief.
Good evening.
Quite the problem.
First up, what you have in front of you is just kind of like for your information. This is going to be our May 2025 incidents report.
Thank you so much.
Well, I tasked Dave with kind of trying to figure out in our program how we can start to utilize it a little bit better, and this is kind of where we're coming to. So again, as long as it's still kind of the testing phases, but this is what you should start to see. Typically, probably going to be the second meeting of the month. By the time we end the month, get the reports done, everything's compiled, then we should be able to get this to you the second meeting. So just something to look at, and it kind of gives it a little bit better breakdown than previously. So if you have any questions. Dave will be happy to answer.
I'm happy to get a report.
Yes, very happy.
What's a public service? Like, what would be an example of that?
What's that?
A public service?
Bringing the kids at the school.
Yeah, typically like, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that's PR events, is how it's coded in there.
They have a PR events, but public service is probably something like getting someone in through a locked door. Or something that
Do I
wasn't-
count?
Sort of an
wasn't a lift
emergency.
assist.
You do.
Not a lift assist, but they had some other, they just needed help with something and there isn't a code for it specifically, so it's just public service.
Okay.
What's assisted invalid?
So in part of that too, all of this is going to depend on how the officer codes the report as it's going in. So we're trying to get uniformity across the board, how it's reported, which is going to reflect on these monthly reports. So again, we're trying to work towards something better here, but this is kind of currently where we're at with that.
Looks good.
Second up, we had a MABUS request in Ottawa County. London Township Fire Department requested us. They had a major mulch pile fire that was quite extensive. This was a letter I received, just kind of an appreciation for our support and their efforts. And just kind of for public notice, we sent a tender to Allendale Fire Department with two members, and I want to say, don't quote me because I did not get the figures, I apologize. I think we had 6 or 8 on standby here in case we had to move up. They moved them to Allendale until their tasks were given, and then they moved them to the scene. Out of that, they utilized approximately 800,000 gallons of water. That day that was transported in via tanker tenders and a 5-inch supply line via fire hydrant that was near the incident. Had roughly 25 departments in total that were assisting on the scene, but that does not include or may not include departments that were moved up to cover other departments while they were out of their jurisdiction. They had 30 tanker tenders on scene at one point, and 1,260 gallons of diesel fuel was delivered to the site to keep everything kind of operational. So again, this is just a letter, kind of an FYI, showing their appreciation. So I want to say, I'm aware of this is probably the 3rd time. I know we did one over by Saginaw, and then there was one other one down in Ottawa County as well years ago. So this is kind of the 3rd one that I'm aware of. So. So up next, in trying to follow the policies and procedures, in reading in there, it sounds like anything that is entering into a service contract or a service agreement has to come in front of the board and requires 3 bids. This one is for pest control. Years ago, I don't know the exact date, we used to have a pest control company that come in and they would put their boxes in the corners and they would spray, I think monthly, for ants, bees, spiders, things like that.
Port City.
Yeah.
Port City did. That has since gone away. That is something that we're trying to get back into because we do have a lot of spiders on lights, occasional bees, and then we have a lot of ant problems with coming through the cracks in the building and sidewalks as well. So Port City, I did reach out to. He is officially or going out of business, so he was unable to get a quote back to me. What you have in front of you is 2 quotes, one from Safeguard and one from Haynes. The Safeguard, the estimated total, I do have to draw attention to the $65 per month is only listed in there once, so you'd have to add 11 more months of 65 to get that 3rd grand total. Haynes would come in the cheapest at $840 for the year. With that said, if we deem or need at any point throughout the month, they will come back and do a spot treatment free of charge. It doesn't cost us. If we see a problem, they'll come back and take care of it. So my recommendation is to approve the total for $840 for Haynes service agreement for pest control, and that is going to go effective July 1st to take care of the annual, to get us from our annual fiscal year.
Are they treating inside and outside?
inside and outside.
And are they going to post somewhere that's been treated?
I can ask them, I don't know the answer to that.
And can you get me copies of the MSDS sheets?
Yep, and they will supply all that, so, again, learning the process here, they did come in and do an initial treatment for us. They were going to do a free one for the month of June, and then start billing us in July. I was too late. By the time I called them, they'd already come in and did it, so that's why we're coming to this point now, but, yeah, and they do supply the chemicals that they use, and then we have an SDS sheet book at the station that we have to put all that stuff in as well.
I motion to approve the Haynes estimate for $840.
I second that.
All right, we'll roll call vote.
Cory?
Yes.
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 Unanimous passes.
All right, I'll keep this one short and sweet. Up next, our wildland brush helmets that we use for wildland fires should be typically replaced after about 10 years. They have about a 10-year shelf life per the NFPA 1977 helmet requirement. The majority, if not all of the helmets that we have that I've looked at are from 2005. So this purchase would be for one brush helmet and a new set of goggles, one for every member of the department. The current ones that we have, like I said, are out of compliance date-wise, but some are also starting to show wear on the headbands, and then a lot of the chin straps and that are missing off of what we currently have. So this would be bringing us back up into compliance in the total of $2,252.20 from MES.
Motion to approve, the NFPA helmet for wildland firefighting.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Brenda?
Yes.
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 We can do with old helmets.
What's that?
What are you gonna do with old helmets? Give them to kids?
You want to wear them around?
Well, so this is for the purchase of one, and technically we have backup sets, so until we can rotate them out, I don't have an answer for you on that either.
You're going to get shove his back up.
Exactly. What's that?
You said one, he thinks it's one helmet.
No, you said
One-
it's for one. and I was like,
One per person.
No, one per person, no. One new one per person, no.
Well, I'm just wondering, because they're 20 years old, so.
They've doubled their shelf life of
They're still
20 some
usable.
years, yes. What's that?
They're still usable if you need it.
Back up. Better nothing.
You'll be seeing me again.
If they don't have chin straps, I don't think they're very usable. Some of them may be.
Yeah, so one part of it is safety, right, which is kind of the direction that we're trying to go. We're trying to get up on equipment replacement. This is part of that process.
No, I know, for me, just instead of throwing them away when you do your PR events, I'm sure some kids would love to have them versus pitching in the garbage. There's some kids that are
Then
really.
we'd have
Some big
showing
kids that
up
sit
on
at the end of the table.
That would be okay.
You're saying you just want it.
You want it.
You just
I'm a
want
little
it.
kid at heart. I
One's
think it's
fair,
cool.
one's fair for
If you want one, then maybe. Come see me.
It only cost you $2,253.
There you go. Nice donation.
Next up, so in our initial staff meeting that we had, I had originally asked if there was any equipment that anybody needed or anything that people were short on, or things like hoods, particulate hoods, structure gear. Pretty much the biggest thing that I got back was 2 sets of extrication brush gear, wildland gear. They're dual certified, so we can use them for both purposes. So that's why you have this estimate in front of you. The reason for only having the one estimate, well, to start, the total's $1,815.88, which is under that $2,000 threshold. But also all of our current up-to-date extrication wildland brush gear come from Phoenix, and these are our specs that everybody was fit for, I want to say 5 years ago. So that's in keeping everything like, is what the request for these two are.
Make a motion to approve the $1,815.88 for the brush wildland fire gear.
I'll second.
Roll call vote.
Should we have extrication?
It's dual certified, so I mean, as long as we're approving the quote for the Phoenix Safety Outfitters, I'm good with that.
Trudy?
Yes.
Peg, yes.
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 We're getting tired, we're not waiting our turn.
I think we're down to 2 things. Next up, we're rolling over into building maintenance. I've been, I don't want to say hoarding these funds for this purpose, but I've been holding on to these funds in this line item for these 2 reasons here. The first one that you have in front of you is previously Captain Halston was in charge of kind of station maintenance, did some maintenance on the garage doors and such. That hasn't been done in quite some time now, and we've had a lot of broken rollers, some seized rollers. We've had a couple of incidents where the cable would break on the garage door while it's trying to go up, and then the garage door cocks sideways, and then we can't get out, and then we're standing on a truck in the 2:30 in the morning trying to pick the garage door up off and tie it up so we can get up. I know because that was me. This is part to get an annual maintenance program started for these, so we can try to limit those incidents. You have 3 bids in front of you, I believe. And the cheapest one coming in was, or I'm sorry, I don't believe it was the cheapest, right around the cheapest, for $2,015.92. Was from Affordable Door and Gate, in whom we've used multiple times at the station. Typically they respond out same day, if not within the hour, to fix anything that we have. They are going to go through, they already have gone through and actually listed out for you in this quote the cables that need to be replaced, some of the hinges, and some rollers, as well as you'll see some safety equipment with the air switches also on there to kind of bring everything back up into par. In doing this, obviously we're still going to have problems throughout the year. It's just inevitable. The doors are up and down all the time. So this is just to start that annual maintenance program. So I'm recommending that we stay with the Affordable Door and Gate in that amount of $2,015.92.
Make a motion to pay Affordable Door and Gate $2,015.92.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. We will roll call vote.
Benj?
Yes.
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 Trudy?
Yes.
And yes. You were so excited.
Last but not least, same line along garage doors. A couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago now, we had a bottom panel that was backed into. It was caught, it was bent in. It's been fixed, it's operational, but there are still air gaps around it. When it goes up, it still squeals, all that good stuff. It actually needs a panel replacement. This quote is for the panel replacement. and it does also include a set of torsion springs. I'm told that once they release the tension off there is a possibility that they could break. If they do break, then we would actually have the set to put on. If we don't use them, it's something that we can still keep in stock here, as we should anyways, in case we do have one break on us, because it'll take 2 to 3 weeks by the time that they get them in. All of this can come out of this year's line item budget, so we're starting with a clean slate next year. So again, my recommendation is to stay with affordable door and gate in that amount of 25, 10, 49.
And they're all interchangeable, right?
They are interchangeable, and this panel, it only comes in white, and unfortunately our garage doors have been painted brown, so we would have to have that painted at a later date.
Painted brown?
They are.
Yes.
Did we paint them?
They were painted when the building was built.
We did.
We did
I got
take a look
some,
at
just-
that.
Do we have paint to paint them, is what I'm saying, to do it ourselves?
I don't know who
Or do
we
you
had
gotta be
paint
with
them
someone?
last time, I gotta look into that yet, but my concern is getting that panel replaced.
I make a motion to approve because I'm tired.
Support.
Yeah.
All right, no, roll call vote.
Wait, don't go anywhere.
We don't have to roll call everything, you know.
When we spend money.
Yes.
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 Cory?
Yes.
I apologize, but we have a structure fire.
Yep, go, be safe.
All right, next up is parcels that were foreclosed on. Joan, if you want to say anything about them.
I do. Every year we get this list from the county treasurer. I usually look it up to see if any of it is near one of our parks where it could be advantageous to us. We're not in the business of buying and selling property, so if it isn't usable to us, it doesn't make sense for us to even get involved. They sell it for what's owed on it, and bless their heart.
Sometimes it's not even a buildable lot.
Yeah. The first one is 10 acres, but it's near none of our properties, and it's right in residential.
10 acres.
The other one is, I think it's 40 acres, but it's 10 acres, and it's right next to the Thermal Chem Superfund site. I don't think we want anything to do with that. And then the last one is a 40-foot lot on the corner of Lane and Setman, which we don't have anything over there either. So my recommendation is to deny accepting any of these properties.
I make a motion that we do deny these properties and let me for that. Thank you.
Support.
They just go back into the land bank.
The land bank then sells them to recoup their money.
Yeah, there's late promotion August 16th or something like that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. And then the Senior Millage Committee has a request for us.
They do. We discussed at length continuing the programs that we started because they're all safety influenced, and I think that should be our number one priority, is keeping our seniors safe. We also recommend continuing to, although I did write an additional grant for the VFW, so we should be good for 6 months. But we wanted to continue to pay any overages, so we didn't have to turn people away for the dinner once a month. And then this year, we would like to add plows for seniors. They do have, Senior Resource does have a gentleman that does it. We did get a price from him. We got a price from a local gentleman cheaper, and he's local, so he will get here sooner. And the group through Senior Resources tends to pick and choose which driveways they want to do. So this gentleman gave us a quote on what is considered a small, a medium, and a large driveway. So even if you have 100-foot driveway, he's gonna plow it for, I think it was $55, $45 maybe. Because we don't know where this is gonna go and how many people are gonna sign up, we recommended only signing up 30 people this year and only allowing 10 pushes, which is 10, because, you know, if we have a light winter, there might be 5, and if we have a exceptional winter, there might be 18. So we're recommending keeping it at 10. They will also clean the way to one entrance to the home, in case a person has a caregiver or they need help getting out to the car, they'll have a clear path to get there. And if you agree with this letter, I'd like to send it to Kathy Moore so we can get our money.
She'll be there tomorrow. Yeah.
So you said, what if it's an easy year and it's only 5 pushes? So
He'll only get paid for 5. We're
This is
going
really
to have,
kind
They'll-
we're
of,
gonna have
oh.
coupons.
this is just really kind of a test run. And
yeah.
it could increase later, but we just thought we would
Yeah.
start at a certain point, see how it runs, see how it goes.
To help us with budget for future.
So what's your criteria for the people who get? I
60
know.
years old or older and live in Eggleston Township.
are there lots more than
That's the
30?
only stipulations we can put on this, because it's millage money. And that's what it was collected for, is to serve seniors.
Could we do 60 people and 5 pushes?
We could, but this is what the committee recommended, because we want to be able to see what kind of budget we're gonna need going forward.
Oh.
And remember,
Next year.
he still can take customers out here. We're not gonna take customers away from him. We're gonna enhance that program so nobody has to get turned away. They don't like us to duplicate services.
So it's going to be the same 30 people this year?
Pardon me?
Will it be 30 people, the same people that's?
The
Only-
first 30 people that sign up, we'll put it on the marquee, we'll put it on the website. The first 30 people that sign up, if they can't sign up with, what was his name, Chris?
Yeah. Oh, Christopher
Yeah.
Cross, yeah.
If he doesn't have a slot, then we'll take those 30 people.
Because Christopher Cross still comes out this way
Yes.
as well.
And he
does this.
gets first because he gets a grant rate from Senior Resources for
Right,
that
right,
purpose.
from us.
But he doesn't have enough slots.
But this year we're help the same 30 people.
We're trying to
Throughout the
help
winter.
up to 30 additional people.
Additional is not the same, not the same.
I mean, but what if next month 10 other people call? We say, no, you weren't those first 30, and we're only doing 30?
And they don't even use all their 10 pushes?
Well, and we can come back to the board and say, look, we've had 5 more people call.
Mhm.
And, you know, what if it's been a light winter, what do you think?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that that's all we can take. We had to pick a number to try to budget.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I would
So
like
you'll
to
be
see it-
flexible with that?
I would like to see it run like Rolling with Shelley, they like get a pass and call her.
Oh, they will.
Eventually.
We'll give them coupons, and then when the 10 coupons are gone, you know, if they don't have to go anywhere this week, they might want to save that coupon for next week when they got to get out to the doctor, you know, so.
I would like to see 3 quotes, and I'd like to see it published in the newspaper according to our policies and procedures.
We did get 3 quotes.
Yeah, we do have the 3.
And a contract, so we'll see those before we vote?
Yes.
So what are
Before we
voting on
hire
tonight?
him, yes.
Yes.
What are we voting on tonight then?
We're voting on this proposal, so I can send this to Kathy and get the money.
Do we have a contract with them?
We do not have a contract yet, we've got a bid from him. And he's got to provide his insurance to us as well.
So I have a hard time voting on this without 3 bids and a contract and putting an ad in the paper.
Well, I
Understand.
think
We
what
appointed a committee to do that footwork, to bring it to the board, and that's what we're
we
doing.
want to bring it to the board, but also we still have to present it ourselves a little later
She probably will.
When we get the insurance.
So
when
we're
we
gonna
get the
ask for this,
contract.
if it's okay, can we ask for this?
It's like a request for proposal.
It's a request to be able to allow these funds to be used for this purpose, so I can send it to the
Cause they gotta have a
county health.
reason, they gotta know what we're gonna use it.
We're not
Well,
choosing the
well, I-
contractor yet.
Well, that's what this letter is
So,
recommending,
I think-
MKM property.
We're actually
Here.
we're voting on the last sentence of the minutes, where it says it is the committee's recommendation to approve this as presented and allow Clerk Rapp to send it to Muskegon Public Health with a request for this year's funding.
Correct.
So we're requesting funding, but we're not locked into a contract.
The
That's
details,
what it looks
the
like.
details will come back to us. But
Once
he
we
was
go
the low
ahead.
bidder. If he signs a contract and supplies us with proper insurance coverage.
So we're not following your policy and procedure then?
No.
Bids for recurring services must be solicited and requests for proposals prepared for all contracted services. $5,001 above, a request for proposals must be prepared and 3 bids must be obtained. Notice to bidders is required to be published in the township's newspaper of record. I don't mind voting and saying, let's do some snow plowing, let's do 30 times 10 pushes. I have a problem picking MKM because that's what's recommended in here. It says MKM Property Care will provide insurance with Eggleston named as additional insured. We haven't even seen a contract from him to approve that.
I think what they
We're
need is
appointed
a
committee
ballpark.
To do the footwork, to bring you a proposal. We're bringing you the proposal to present to Muskegon County. If this is approved, we will work with MKM to come up with a contract, the coupons, and his letter of proof of insurance.
So we're not following our policies and procedures.
I guess not, no.
But you did come up with 3 estimates, right?
Yes, we did.
But we have to see them.
We just don't have them in front of us.
Alex brought us 3, 2, and 3.
And if
saw
we
them.
approve this, are we locked into anybody? No. Okay, that's fine. This is basically just get funding from the county to fund it.
This is
And then we can choose the
approval to
contractor.
send this letter out. I attached the minutes so you knew it was a committee recommendation and not Joan Rapp's.
So the letter doesn't mention MKM at all.
No.
That would go out. And the motion, if you read just the last sentence, instead of saying recommendation, if you say I make a motion,
To
MKM is
approve.
not listed either. So I wouldn't have reservations about voting on this tonight, because we're not limiting ourselves to MKM
In the letter. I get
in the
that.
letter or in the motion at this point.
Okay, and I have another question, the grant for the dinners at the VFW, is that a VFW grant? Or a
Yes, it
township
is.
grant? It's a VFW grant.
It's a VFW grant. I applied for the grant for the VFW. There was additional funding that was available at one time, overreach that they had, and it will get us 6 months, through 6 months.
So is the VFW grant the overage at 32 or 3,500, or is it the entire 20,000 or whatever it is?
I got an additional $3,600, which should get us 6 months without having to supplement the dinners.
So you got us, meaning the township's grant? The VFW's grant. Okay, so there was additional money so that, in addition to cover the overage, so why are we still supplementing the overage?
Because it's only 6 months and then the funding's gone. It was a minimal grant. They allowed everybody to ask for additional
extra.
funds.
Yep, got that.
Because they had extra.
I'm just wondering if it's a VFW grant, if we're going to still continue to supplement their grant, because it's not our grant.
We won't have to supplement the dinners if the grant covers it, which it will, for 6 months.
And the other 6 months, they'll ask us to supplement it?
We've been doing it all along.
Yeah, but before it was our grant in our name. No, it's in the VF, yes, it was.
No.
The auditor told you that we have to run
No.
it through our books, and so it got changed to the VFW
No.
at that point. So it was our grant all along, until recently.
It was applied for originally for the township, yes, and when you had an issue with it, then I
Because money didn't come
switched
into the township, it went directly to the VFW, so we had no oversight whatsoever of a grant that we wrote. That's why. So it's a VFW grant, and maybe for 6 months, you'll request overage for us to use our senior village money to pay.
After this extra funding is, then we want to continue supplementing any overage to the, because the original grant out there is only for 200 dinners. We can turn people away. That's what you want to do.
Well, the VFW will be turning away, it's their grant, not ours. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
It's a VFW grant, you applied as a VFW
Yes.
person, not as a township person.
We supplement the seniors at the school. I don't know why we wouldn't supplement a meal once a month for our seniors.
And that comes out of the senior millage money, doesn't it? So that's
Yeah.
cool.
But they also show us what it goes for, and this doesn't give us any documentation whatsoever. We asked the school to give us documentation, and they did.
What do you mean it doesn't? We get a bill from them. You sign the bill every time that you get a bill from the VFW for overages.
So they're billing us, okay, we're not just donating it, they're billing us and we're paying the bill.
Correct.
Okay.
We're paying by the meal. That goes over what the grant allowed.
I motion to approve this as presented and allow Clerk Gratt to send it to Muskegon Public Health with a request for this year's funding.
I second that.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
A roll call vote?
Peggy?
Yes.
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 All right, the next item up is the treasurer's report. Any questions or comments? All right, looking for a motion to pay the bills.
Motion to pay bills?
So moved. Yes.
All right, roll call vote to pay the bills.
Bench.
Yes.
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 Trudy?
Yes.
Yes.
And looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned, 10:15.